back to the SpoilerCast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them because it's the SpoilerCast. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. With me, as always, is my sister and trusty co-host, Rebecca.
Hello, and you are, of course, Tobias.
Yes. I forget if I usually say anything else there, but today we're introducing you right away. And welcome to everyone watching or listening this. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. But you also can listen to this and many other episodes on every major podcast platform, where you can then listen to us on the go. Unless I guess you have YouTube Premium if you want to pay for that. But check us out on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I don't know, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. Even like Podcast Addict and even Podbean if you want to hear the super raw files, because that's where I upload from. And if you want an extra episode every week, even weeks when we don't upload, there is some sort of podcast there, I promise. Check us out on Patreon, where for as little as $3 a month, that's one coffee a month, you get one extra episode of the SpoilerCast. You get to hear the still to this day exclusive Madness in the Method podcast, where we talk about Nicolas Cage movies. Please check that one out. You get exclusive videos. You get commentary tracks. You get previews of videos. And all this for just $3 a month. So please check that one out and help support the podcast and this show, the channel, whatever it is we're doing here. But enough of that. Hey, I got through that plug pretty fast. I'm getting better at this. Finally. Today we're doing Fast and Furious again for the third time.
Part 2.
Yeah. Part 2. For the third time. Yes, because our last Patreon exclusive episode was a Fast and Furious spin-off episode where we talked about the forgotten masterpiece. So to speak, quote unquote masterpiece, Torque. Please check that one out. It's on Patreon. But yes, last time we talked about Fast and Furious, we talked about 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes.
And today we're talking about
obviously today
5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
And this is all in preparation for the very delayed Swedish premiere of Fast and Furious 9, or I guess the Fast Saga. Which is a stupid name, because it's not a saga yet. There's supposed to be 10 movies. And I don't know if you've heard about this. Yeah, the number 10 is going to be 2 movies.
Planned, at least. Oh, no.
Oh, you haven't heard that? It's going to be 2 movies.
No. I've only seen it as 1 movie on people's IMDb.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2 now, if you look at it.
I have to check.
It's going to be Fast and Furious 10, Part 1 and 2. Yeah! Which is just, I thought that was like I didn't think people did that anymore, but alright. So
well, it is only listed as 1 movie on Vin Diesel's IMDb.
Are you sure?
But it's only announced as well, so.
Alright.
You never know.
I'm pretty sure I saw it as 10 before, but alright.
Anyway. 2 parts.
Yeah, it's going to be 2-parter, yeah.
Yeah, but you said 10, you didn't say 2-part.
Huh?
You said, I'm pretty sure it was listed as 10. Yeah, number 10 is definitely there, but it's not listed as 2 parts.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here it says, in the trivia, it says, the film is confirmed to actually be the first chapter of the series' 2-part finale, which includes FNF 11 as the final installment. But I heard it being called Fast and Furious 10 Part 2 or something like that. That's stupid.
Why?
Anyway,
they already have a lot of parts.
They already have a lot of parts, so. But I gotta say kudos for sticking to 10 movies, even though now it's gonna be 11, but still,
Yeah.
Because that's what they've been saying, like ever since they talked about it as a franchise, which was like back when they did number 5. They always said we're gonna do 10 parts and then we're gonna stop. And I remember they reinforced that after Paul Walker died, that we're not gonna like continue to milk this past what we said. It's gonna be 10 parts and that's it.
Yeah,
which is, it's fine.
But
So
apparently he had said sometime in like an interview that if he could choose, they would have continued doing them forever, even if they were in wheelchairs or something.
yeah, I know, but
That was,
that's like they're getting old as it is. I rewatched number 8 today, and even though they're only like in their early 40s, most of them, you definitely see they've aged 20 years. Well, because it's been
yes,
20 years, so. But still, it's weird when you look at like when they're in race wars in number 7, and everyone's like, there's like all these young people, young racers, and then there's these old grandpas and grandmas racing as well.
yeah,
Like, it's a young man's game.
old enough to be their parents,
Yeah,
basically.
and then also just the fact that sure the franchise hasn't gone stale yet, but if you're gonna go past 10 movies, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's actually start talking about
Number 5.
the actual movies. We start with Fast Five, as it was styled. But I'm pretty sure it says Fast Five in the introduction or in the credits, right?
I think so, yeah. And
Yeah,
and the like official poster is Fast
Fast
5.
Five, yeah. Um, and this was like I've been saying a lot. I think this was a lot of people's introduction to the series, because this is when it went big. I mean, it was always mainstream,
Yes.
but it went big. Like, okay, we have an audience, we can spend some money on this, but let's make it a real action movie. It's not just a niche kind of car movie. We're gonna actually make it into
Yes.
an action movie.
And they did make it big
Oh yeah,
because they add a lot of action scenes, a lot of like fights and explosions and breaking stuff and
yeah.
Jesus.
Other than just car stunts, we have fights. They have like a foot race.
Yeah, that this is one where they're running on the roofs, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
through the favela. Yeah.
yeah.
And they also they didn't introduce it, but this is what created the modern Fast and Furious movie, where they had
Yes.
the mission, so to speak. But this one it was a heist.
Yeah.
But what I really like about, because you could almost think that this then would be kind of like a soft reboot again, because the fourth one was popular, but they really wanted to like change the franchise with this one, so they kind of wanted to make it a soft reboot again, which they didn't though. It's a
No.
it's a direct continuation, well, sort of Fast and Furious, the fourth one.
Yeah.
It even starts with the jailbreak of Dominic Toretto.
Which I really liked.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, yes, thank God it didn't like
Yeah.
just brush past that." It's like perfect.
But that's
Actually.
that's already like where they're starting to get ridiculous with the action though, because they flip that bus,
Yes.
and it flips so many times, and still when you see the news reel about it later, like, miraculously no one died. It was like, really? In that crash, someone died.
Yeah.
Because it rolls like 10 times or something. It's insane.
I mean, they have to up the ante a bit from number 4, where they flipped a gas tank
Sure,
like
yeah, but
20 times.
That was fake,
rolling down the
however.
road.
This
True,
one is
that's
real.
true.
That's also
yeah,
this
that's
is also
true.
the start of the really big stunts,
Yes.
which we'll get to a little later when we talk about this movie. But yeah, the plot is fairly simple. Whoa, once again, now everyone is on the run.
Yeah, obviously, because
which-
they broke out Dom.
Yeah, Dom. So they've been like Vince says it, because Vince returns in this movie, which was nice. Matt Schultz came back.
Yes.
Like he says, they've all been falling through South America, ending up in every hellhole along the way. That's kind of how
Yeah.
it starts, because they're you don't really see it in the beginning. You don't really see it, but when they get to Vince's house and they start eating, it's like, oh, they're so hungry. They haven't eaten for days. That's
Yeah.
what it looks like. It's
When Brian and Mia are eating, they're like ravished.
yeah. Which I've never understood, because if you're really, really hungry, you don't eat fast. What you do is you take at least me, you take a big first bite and you're like, oh. But then you eat like
Seen people like
normal.
eat fast
But
because
if
they're
you
so
eat
hungry.
fast, Maybe that's once again. Maybe that's just me. If I eat fast, I get the hiccups.
Well, yeah.
I
'Cause
can
you
eat a lot,
swallow
but I
more
can't eat
air.
fast. Because it's like after a while, because you don't breathe like you should when you eat fast. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just think that looks fake, but they always do that in movies. One of my favorites is Keira Knightley in Pirates of the Caribbean when she's
Oh
been
yeah.
taken captive by Barbossa.
I mean,
And
she shouldn't even be hungry by then. It's
yeah,
been
it's only
like
been like a day. Come on.
barely.
But she's like, it takes one bite of this
I
and
think,
one bite of that and one bite. Just eat it
but
normal. Jesus.
in that movie, I think she's just overdoing it also to like gross him out.
I guess. Anyway, that's a small
Anyway,
detail, but it always
yeah.
annoys me in movies. I had to point it out. Oh, I'm hungry, so I eat super fast. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Um. But the plot is they're all now fugitives. So
They're gonna do one last job.
yeah, they're gonna do one last job because they find out that Mia is pregnant. So you can't be on the run with a baby. I mean you can, but you don't wanna. So
No, they want some money so they can settle down somewhere
they're gonna
where
do
there's
one
no extradition or whatever they say.
one last big score. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna steal the biggest drug dealer in Rio. They're gonna steal all his money, all his $100 million.
Well, they only decide to do that after he basically tries to kill them.
Yeah, there's this semi like not convoluted, but it's kind of the introduction to the drug dealer is weird because it's almost like they antagonize him
on purpose.
On purpose, like
they do.
All he wanted was the cars. We don't know that he was gonna kill them when he got the cars or anything. He just wanted that car, but instead they decided to drive off with that car.
He probably wouldn't have touched them if they didn't take that specific car.
Yeah. So because the first job they get is through Vince to steal a couple of cars, which have been impounded by the DEA from a
They're
train.
on a train.
Yes, they got to steal the cars from a running train. Yeah. And it turns out that one of them contains a chip that a certain drug dealer who owns the cars or owned the cars wants. They don't know this though. But they start acting suspicious as soon as the leader of this little heist tells them, like, "Oh, I want to drive the F something 40."
Yeah, I don't remember that car.
And they're like, "No, we're gonna drive that one." So it's like they're antagonizing them right off the bat, which is unnecessary. But I guess they needed something to get the plot running,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And Dominic is looking at it and like, "Ooh, that's suspicious. I don't want you to drive that car if you're so into it. So I'm gonna put my sister in it."
Yeah, super weird. But anyway,
just put yourself in it. But okay.
they through that figure out that this drug dealer, he moves like it's not all his money really. It's like 1 month's supply that he runs from various locations.
Yes,
I mean, it's not
but
all
there's
his
a bunch
money.
of locations.
Yeah. So he runs like $10 million from 10 different locations.
Yeah.
So they're gonna steal it all, and through some shenanigans, it all ends up in one convenient vault that they can then steal. And that's basically the plot. It's a heist movie after that, and a pretty good one. As far as heist movies goes, you have the planning, the setup, the acquisition of parts and cars and whatever they need, the forming of the team, which then kind of becomes the team for the rest of the franchise.
Sort of, yeah.
Some of them disappear, some are new inductees, but we'll get to that. And as a heist movie. Well, there's one big thing in the end because the heist is planned. They're gonna do this specific thing. They're gonna go in, ask cops, and just steal the money.
Yeah.
But then because that wouldn't be as exciting as a final action set piece, they're like, oh no, they already know we have cop cars. There's gonna be 10 times more guards now. How about we just rip the vault out of the wall instead?
Yeah.
And drive it through the streets of Rio. So the movie ends. I know I'm jumping ahead, but just because we're talking about the plot, the movie ends with at that point the most spectacular car chase set piece I'd ever seen. Because there's two like super powered like sport race cars dragging like 50-ton steel vault through the streets of Rio de Janeiro at like 100 miles an hour.
Chased by so many cops
dozens of cop cars. Yeah.
and special force
one
people.
insane wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's part of the DSS, which is something Department of Strategic something. I don't remember.
Safety.
Something like that. Yeah. And that vault just goes crashing into things. They use it to crush cars, and it goes on for like 10-15 minutes. It is absolutely insane.
For a movie that has so many like breaking of things, you never actually see people get hurt.
No, because it is a PG-13 movie, so they don't want to show people die. There are a couple of times when they crush cars where you're just like, those people died, though.
Yeah, when they run the vault through a storefront.
Yes, a bank. It's a bank. The one with the glass.
It's a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone got hit by that.
Someone got hit.
And if they didn't, someone got sliced up pretty good by all that glass. Someone died. But yeah, it's a PG-13 movie, so we don't show it. I gotta say, do you remember when we saw... It was around this time, 2014, I think. Remember we went and saw the Need for Speed movie, which we hoped was going to be like a new Fast and Furious?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember? It's also a PG-13 movie. But do you remember how violent that movie is? Like,
yes.
Every car crash in that movie is it's filmed pretty well, so you can see everything. But you also then realize that, oh yeah, no one survives in those crashes. Like,
yeah,
they don't show anything because once again it's PG-13. But it's like no. Every car in that movie gets like crushed or like exploded to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone dies in that movie. It's
and even like
horrific.
when the main characters crash, they get hurt. It's not like in this one they're like dust it off and get up again. No, they get hurt. They put one of them in hospital.
Yeah, and it's like filmed in a way that it just feels so like.
It's a bit too realistic.
Yeah, it's almost too realistic, like crushing cars.
Because you don't go to a movie to watch people die in car crashes. Yeah, you don't.
Depends
you
what
don't
movie you're
wanna...
watching.
Yeah, but you don't want to watch them die. You just want a car crash.
Yeah. So here it is. You are spared from the horrific details. It's just like, oh my god, those cars crashed. I can't believe no one died.
That gets even worse though as we progress.
Oh yes. But let's rewind the tape a little bit and let's actually go back about 7 minutes into the movie, because this is not a movie that spends like 20 minutes to set up the characters.
Oh no, we have the characters.
Yeah, that's the benefit of this franchise. It's been the same characters more or less for the first 4 movies. So when the 5th one starts, you're like, we know what's going on. We know who the characters are, what they're doing. We're just gonna introduce the plot right away. And I counted it. The train heist is, I think it's like 8.5 minutes into the movie, and we're already in the middle of the train heist. So we have our first explosive action set piece where they're jumping cars off trains, off of mountains, and blowing up cars and shooting people, and it's 8 minutes into the movie. They're just like, this is the new Fast and Furious, and that train sequence is amazing. How they just they have this specialized car drives up to the side of it, they laser cut part of the train off. And then they have this like pulley system where they pull the cars onto the flatbed of this truck thing that they have.
Special car.
Yeah, that then
ramps them down
so they can drive off, and all while the train is still moving. And then
it's genius.
Yeah, and then you have Dom and Brian. Thank you.
Oh right, I didn't realize who you were thinking of.
Brian. Fighting off the goons once they take the wrong car for some dumb reason, in this they did this for real. Most of it is for real. You have this car driving next to the train. I mean, it's going much slower than it does in the movie.
Yeah, obviously.
And you have stuntmen jumping back and forth between the train and the car, hanging off of the car as it crashes into the train and almost derails the train. The car is exploding. People are hanging off of it. And then they launch the last car out of the train instead of onto the flatbed. It just jumps out of the train. with Dom in it, or the stuntman Dom, not Vin Diesel, obviously. And he's driving next to the burning truck that is hanging halfway off the train. And then Brian hanging off of that car, waiting to jump onto the car
that Dominic is driving.
Whilst a bridge is rapidly approaching.
Closing in.
And then he jumps from the train car thing to the car, and then they jump that car off the cliff where the bridge starts into like the 200 feet drop into water, and they do it for real.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you start the goddamn movie. It is insane.
That's why they put the bar very high for that movie and then for the next movie. So I am just have to put this in there. I am very excited to see what the hell they're gonna do in number 9.
Well, they always been joking. I don't want to spoil. I don't know how much you know.
No, I've avoided everything. Okay. I've seen the trailer, but that's it.
I watched an interview. Oh, you've seen the trailer where they're sitting in the flying car, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with Tesh and Roman.
He's I know they're going towards space. But that's
I kind of got that spoiled for me because I listened to an interview or watched an interview with what's his name, Chris Gore from Film Thread, and he said they literally go into space, and I was like, oh damn it.
Well, I mean, you kind of guessed.
Yeah, I kind of guessed that, but they didn't show that in the trailers. So I'm expecting them to punch through the atmosphere a little bit.
Yes, we'll see how they actually use that. If they're just sitting in a fucking shuttle and whatever, they have to explode something in space. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
I hope so. But anyways, so the movie starts off with this amazing set piece.
Yes.
And then it just continues from there. I mean, the really big set pieces is that it's that one. It's the favela foot chase, and I guess you'd call the fight between Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel is one set piece because they really move through an entire building.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final set piece with the vault, of course. But then there are smaller action scenes throughout this, and for a 2-hour and 10-minute runtime or something, like a little over 2 hours without the credits, it's like there's so much action in this, and they also
it's basically nonstop.
Yeah, it never gets boring because, and this is something that becomes very important going forward. The family aspect, which has always been there, becomes very important in this one, especially since they're talking about having a baby.
I think this is the first time he actually says the family.
I think he mentions it before.
Maybe he does, but they make a thing out of it because he makes the toast and he's like "ma familia."
Oh yeah. Salumi familia.
Yeah.
That's something that we haven't talked. We have talked about how they have developed the characters and how they have used the same characters so they become familiar to you. But starting with this one, they're really the emphasis is really on unity and family.
Yes.
A lot, even with characters that haven't been in a lot of movies, like Han comes back into this one, and he's instantly a part of the family. Same thing with Giselle, who was technically on the bad guy crew in the 4th movie.
Yeah.
She does help him in the end, but I mean, she starts out as a bad guy henchwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And
both Roman and Tesh come back.
Yeah, and you even have they only had a cameo in the 4th one. You have Don Omar and Tego Calderon come back, but they're called something else. Don Omar is called Don Omar, right?
Well, he is
Santos.
Santos in this one, and Tego is called Leo in this one. But I think they're actually called something else in the 4th movie.
Yeah, I think so, because they don't have names in that one. They are just cameos.
They don't say their names, so they're named after themselves in that one.
Yeah, but here they have names.
Yes.
But every scene that doesn't involve an action set piece, or the bad guys in this one, or I guess the semi bad guys, Dwayne Johnson and his team, who are sent out to retrieve Dominic and his gang, as they call it.
Yes.
Every scene with the family is, even when they're doing some sort of heist stuff, getting this or getting that, they're always doing it together as a team, as a family, and it's always focused on family.
And they're always happy, basically.
Yeah. even when they think that Vince is stabbing them in the back, he says, "Oh, you never turn your back on family."
Yeah.
We'll get to that when we get to the 6th movie, because that's when people start dying. Well, Vince dies in this one, but
yeah,
which is sad.
After another small action scene, but still kind of big, because they
an
use
ambush with the shootout,
rocket launchers and stuff.
Yeah. No, an RPG.
Oh, RPG, whatever. Same shit.
They're not rockets. They're rocket-propelled grenades.
Okay. Whatever, dude.
Yeah, sorry. Another action set piece, but a smaller one. Smaller one.
Small.
It's a fucking shootout with bazookas and cars blowing up and grenades and.
Yeah. And I think there's like 20 people shooting at each other.
Yeah. But I lost my track of what was it?
We're talking about family.
Yeah. Every scene is like you have Brian and Dom talking about their fathers. You have Vince's I guess wife or girlfriend or whatever, Rosa.
Yeah.
And Rosa and Mia talking about the babies. Yeah, and talking about the baby, Nico as they call him, named after Dominic.
Right.
And then the whole thing with Vince, there was always some hostility between him and Brian, but he still becomes part of the team, and everyone's happy. And then he gets shot defending them or protecting them. And there's a lot of it is like reinforcing this sense of the familial feeling.
Yeah. I mean, they actually bond, even though, because Roman and Tesh are completely new to most people except for Brian.
Yeah.
And same with Leo and Santos. They're kind of new to
everyone but Han.
Everyone but Han and Dominic and Mia, I guess then. And Giselle is new to everyone except for Dominic and Brian.
Yeah, so there's all. Yeah.
So I mean, they're bringing in new people from all corners of the world, but they're bonding throughout this experience of trying to set up this heist.
Yeah, and it's even though that's something like not all characters have equal screen time.
No.
And not all characters like interact with each other equally.
Separately or no.
Yeah. But there's always like every character is included in some way. Even characters like Roman, who is basically the comic sidekick, is always included. I mean, in this movie, the first time they meet, Roman has an idea for the heist. Like, we're not going to be able to do it this way. We got to do it that way. And they're like, no, we can't do that. But Dominic says, no, Roman's right. It's just this little things just makes them feel like there is relationships between them right away.
Yeah. I especially feel that even though everyone's not in that scene, but the one like normal street race they have after Dom, Roman, Tesh, and Brian steals the cop cars.
Oh yeah.
That is so wholesome almost, even though they just stole cars.
That scene is really weird though, I gotta say, because it's like, oh, we need cop cars. I know just the place. And they, in like 1 minute, which we don't see, steal 4 cop cars. And then they race.
Just jump the fence somehow.
Yeah, and then they race down empty streets for some reason. There are no cars,
hardly
no
empty.
people. You don't see anyone.
No, beginning it's empty, but then towards like when they start passing some red lights, that's where there start being other cars.
Okay, I didn't notice that. It's just.
But only Roman is using the
sirens. Yeah.
Yeah, which also makes it kind of weird. Like if they all use it, then people would move.
Yeah.
Because, it's cops. They're going somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, only one is using it.
I don't know.
Strange.
Yep. And then there's...
But I still like that scene, because that's the one that's like, it's almost calm. Even though they're literally having a street race.
Yeah. I mean, there is the scene before that when they need to get fast cars. When they're actually doing street racing. Not with stolen cop cars, but they go to a street race in Rio. Which we don't get to see. That's the first time they start like... teasing you with we're not gonna race in this one, because they race for pink slip with that guy. I don't know if he has a name.
Yeah, whatever, that dude.
Yeah, but they get his cars, and then later when The Rock, what's his name, Hobbs, Hobbs confronts them out in the street when they're distracting him so they can put a tracker on his car.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to that same place for a street race when he says, "You're not. This is not America.
Yeah.
You're in Brazil." That scene.
And everyone pulls a gun on the cops.
That's another thing where even people we've talked about this. Even people that are like the bad guys are just douchebags. Go over to their side even after they like beat them in races because he's standing there pointing a gun at the cops just because he likes Dom and Brian, I suppose.
But Dominic exudes such
yes
alpha energy that people just
there's
like
that magnetism.
Yeah. But I mean, they also like when him and Brian rolled up to that first race, the guy the racing is like, "So you come to my streets?" He's like, "I know you. I've heard about you. Your reputation."
Oh yeah, sure. He knows he knows who Dom and Brian.
Everyone knows who Dominic is, basically.
Yeah, but it's just interesting that happens. And that happens in the 8th one as well. We'll get to that.
Yes.
The Cuban guy with the fastest car in the island who then turns up in London for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, then there's that switch after they fight. After Hobbs finds the tracker and confronts them in their warehouse, they have the fucking, I call it a gris fight in Swedish.
Yeah.
Because it was. Now
pig
I've
brawl
seen much,
translated to, but
pig brawl doesn't really make sense.
No,
it's a very messy fight because they're like smashing windows and jumping through walls, and it's at that point, as once again, I'd never seen a fight that was that like hardcore, that extreme,
almost. Yeah.
Even though it's a PG-13 movie, it's like super violent. Now, of course, we have movies like John Wick and stuff where they use knives and hatchets and guns.
But for a fist fight, which this is, it's like watching Titans, basically.
Yeah, because there's two huge buff dudes just beating the snot out of each other
and crushing everything around them.
Yes, that fight scene is so amazing.
It's also I feel like that fight scene must have been horrible to shoot because none of them want to lose, not just as characters but as actors as well.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're basically
you can
wanting to fight for real.
That's something that'll show more in later movies also, that they're, even though there's a lot of big egos with Vin Diesel and Tyrese and all that, one Mr. Dwayne Johnson has a hell of a big ego as well.
Yes.
Because the fight between him and Jason Statham in the beginning of the 7th one, he really doesn't want to lose that fight.
No.
So, but yeah, you do have a winner in that one though. It is Dom, because
that's true.
He has to like physically restrain himself from caving in Hobbs' skull with a wrench. So yeah. And then that's when they decide to be arrested, and that's when the ambush happens where Vince dies. And that's when they decide to like, oh no, we're gonna fucking because that's when we can't do the heist now because now they all know about us.
Yeah, and they're missing one person.
Yeah, so now we're just gonna.
So they have to change the plan.
Yeah, we're just gonna rip it out of the wall and drive it through the streets.
They still have to have used some part of the original plan, because the whole sending Leo and Santos in to blow up the pipes to get in, that must have been part of the original plan. They can't just have come up with that on a whim.
No, all of that was just for them to get access to the surveillance cameras.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And Roman leaving the RC car was just for them to get a footage of the room and the vault,
so they know what vault it is and how to open it.
So basically, just fuck it, we'll wing it in the end when they pull it out of the wall. The only bit of information they can use is the fact that they know which wall the vault is mounted in.
Set in, basically.
So they know where they can crush the wall. That's about it. The rest is just brute force.
True.
But then there's the part with the garbage truck and the fake vault.
Yeah, with the switch.
Which I guess
it's not fake. It's just empty.
Well, yeah, it's an empty vault. Yeah.
Because Tesh managed to procure an empty replica in a matter of days.
Oh yeah, and this is also when they all become like they're like master thieves all of a sudden. Like Tesh was a mechanic before. In this one, he knows like computers and security systems, and he's
a weapons specialist. Almost.
He can open up the most secure vaults of all time, and he knows all this stuff. And you're like, where did he pick up all this? And they have the perfect bullshit line for it. He says to Roman, like, I had a life before I met you, Roman. Let's just keep it at that. It's like, okay. Such bullshit. But it works. I mean, for this movie, fine. It's fine.
And his character is great. If he would have been just a mechanic, he wouldn't have been useful.
No, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Giselle really didn't do much in the fourth movie, but in this one, she's the weapons procurer person.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I mean, we don't know what she did.
Yeah, probably, because we don't know what she did for Braga or before that.
Yeah.
We do find out. Well, that's next movie, I think. That we found out a bit about her history, but not a lot.
Sure, yeah. And then there's of course Han, which they say is the chameleon who can blend in anywhere. They never really use him for that though.
No.
He's just a driver in this movie.
Yes.
He's probably the one they use the least in the movie, which but I do understand why, because he's technically supposed to be dead. And it's all kind of it's a retcon. So it's like I want him in the movie, so
yeah. And we don't know how he and Dominic met.
No, he's just there in the beginning of the fourth one.
Yeah,
that's technically the first time we're supposed to see him, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But he never. His skills are never used. I think.
No, we barely see him. Like, we barely see him drive specifically. I mean, he does drive, but he's not in that street race with the cop cars, for example.
Yeah, he is. He's one of the four. It's Roman, Brian, Dom, and Han.
No, it's Tesh.
No, Tesh does not drive. That's the whole thing. He doesn't drive. The only time he drives in this one is the RC car, and they make fun of him because he can't even drive an RC car.
That's right. Oh, it's just Roman and... But isn't it Roman and Tesh that says, like, oh, we didn't notice it. Told you wouldn't notice it.
No, that's Han and Roman.
Oh, the hell did I watch?
I don't know. Well, maybe he did blend in. He blended in so much that he became Tej in your head.
Oh, probably.
All right. I guess it worked.
Superpowers confirmed.
Yeah. No, but he works as like backup in this and the next movie. And that, that's fine. Well, I guess they kind of use him. He's there when Giselle gets the fingerprints from Reyes.
Oh, that is that movie. He doesn't do anything.
Once again, it's her.
I see. This is where all the storylines kind of blur for me, because I thought that was in number 6, but no, that's true. That's in number 5. That's when we do get to know her background, though. When he like, oh, so you're Mossad, and she's like, yeah, you're a 2-pack a day kind of guy.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that is in number 5.
Yeah, they're not in any exotic locations in the
that's true.
One, except for on a bridge in Spain. That's about it. But that's just a bridge.
That's just a bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the only scene. Like, he's there to get the fingerprints, but once again, it's not him that does it. But I guess that's his scene.
And he doesn't really know how to, really, so he lets his quote-unquote girlfriend do it.
Yeah, they're not They're
flirting, at least, but they're not a thing
That's
yet,
where they start flirting, yeah.
Because it's in that movie when she's driving, he's like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
When they're doing trying to run away from the camera race thing.
Yeah. But at least, it ends with the vault scene, and the whole thing where they're driving on that. It's called something. It's technically a bridge because it goes over water, but that long. The long straight thing going over water. It's a bridge. But it's not, you don't call it a bridge, but it is a bridge. I don't know what it's called.
What do you call it?
I don't know. It's a bridge.
What would you call it in Swedish?
I don't know. I just know that it's called something else because there is a famous one in America. Anyway. The bridge. Where Dom uses the vault as like a sledgehammer and just kills every cop car.
Yep.
And it's I just remember this was the first one I saw in theaters because I was a little too young in the beginning, and like we said before, I skipped the middle movies, 3 and 4. So this was the first one I actually saw in theaters, and I mean, my jaw was just
it dropped obviously
throughout the entire movie. Basically, we haven't even talked about the favela foot chase where since favelas are built on like hills, they're just constantly jumping from roof to roof.
They're
to
like
roof.
Giant staircases. You can just jump down.
and there's the scene where Dom jumps off a roof, and then the
Hobbs comes through the window
through the building that he jumped off.
Oh,
yeah. And he just turns on in midair. He turns on the sees him and oh shit!
Like, what the
basically. And it's just insane. And there's these awesome like crane and I guess helicopter shots as they're running. So once again, for real, running through the favelas. Yes. It is amazingly shot.
Yes.
And even like obviously most of the vault scenes are fake, but there are some of them that are real, like when they're running through cars and running through that bank. They're just plowing through it with a vault attached to a car. It must have been
so expensive.
Yeah, this movie did bump up the budget to over $100 million, where before they were like 80.
Yeah.
But this is also where movies started costing a lot more.
That's true.
Because of motherfucking Disney. Huh? What? Huh? Yeah, like before this, like if a movie cost like $100 million, that was like they were making like an epic, you know?
Yeah.
Like a historical, like Gladiator cost almost $100 million to make a few years or 10 years earlier. But with the advent of the Marvel movies, the budget's just ramped up. So this movie, instead of costing like $86 million, which the fourth one cost, I think it is. I think this one cost like $125 million. But it shows.
It's all in broken glass and crushed cars.
Yeah. and sparingly used CG, which is very nice.
Yes, which is very nice.
Yes.
Before we move on to the next movie.
Oh, sure, yes. We haven't even talked about what we think of the movie, so.
Well, obviously, we like it.
Yeah.
Did you not hear what we just said?
Yeah, sure. But I haven't done that. What do you think?
In the beginning of the movie, when Brian and me are on the train.
Oh my God, yes.
They look through the magazine.
We've talked about one of 4 movies, and we've talked for 40 minutes already.
Well, it's a quick one. Sure, it's a quick one. Mia says she's flipping through a travel magazine, and she says,
she's pointing out countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is she saying? I don't remember what she says, but I think she's talking about the country that they spend time in Hobbs and Shaw. Are they like?
I don't remember. I don't remember which country they're in. They're in
Hawaii
in the end.
Oh, maybe it's not that she's talking about.
Because it's Hobbs's homestead, so to speak. It's
his
old garage. So no, I don't think.
I just thought they would have been like what's it called? Hinting at it, like they did in number 4.
No.
No, okay. Never mind.
They're talking about countries that have no extradition to America.
Oh yeah.
So it can't be Hawaii because that's technically part of
America.
Yeah.
That was just something I thought they were like, ooh.
Yeah, no.
Not that clever this time.
Not that clever, yeah. Yeah, but they talk about countries where they can live after this.
Yes. Funnily enough, they end up in London in the next movie.
Yeah. But they live in I don't remember where, because Dom and Brian and Mia and the new girl, the cop from this movie, Elena. They live in the same country because they do race to the same hospital in the beginning of the 6th one. Yeah, let's get into the 6th one. But first, just what would you? I'm guessing the first time you saw the movie, you liked it. The 5th one.
Oh yes.
Rewatching it, what did you? Was it as good?
I still like it. Yes.
Yeah. Me too.
Nothing has changed basically.
Yeah. This is up towards the top.
Yeah, number 5 is probably way up top.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I guess mostly because it was such a surprise when you saw
and
the
also
first one. Like, what this is not Fast and Furious, but in a good way.
Yeah, but also because it is they've upped the ante and the action a lot, but it's not it's over the top, but it's not too over the top
No.
compared to what the next movies bring.
So
yeah,
let's
six
get into number
has
6.
one of the most ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we both talk about the same thing. Well, we'll get to that. I'm not sure. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing things again.
Yeah, in the 6th one,
No,
they're all now rich. Everyone made at least $10 million.
Yes.
They're all living in countries where they're no extradition, like talk about.
Somewhere in South America, I think all of them though, because
most of them speak
that's what it looks
form
like
of
at
Spanish.
least. Yeah.
And Hobbs, which just like every other bad guy, quote unquote, in these movies, and in the end they save him from being killed. So when he catches up to them in the end, he says, "I'll give you 24 hours, haha. Then I'll come get you."
Yeah.
And Dom is like, "You know you can't catch us," and then they drive off with all the money. Yeah. So.
Well, no.
Well, yeah, they leave the vault. Know that, but then Hobbs opens the vault and realizes, they faked us, they tricked us.
God damn it!
Yeah,
but I think he honors the 24 hours at least.
I guess, because it takes 2 years for him to show up. So
yeah.
Yeah. So the 6th one is it kind of introduces a new thing again, where. You always say that, now there's a heist involved. Sure, there's kind of a heist involved, but with the 6th one, that's when they start doing missions instead. Now they're not thieves anymore. They're like a special team.
It's because they're hired by the American authorities.
They're hired by Hobbs,
literally,
who is an extension of the government, to catch an international terrorist guy, whatever.
Yeah, but they're also like kind of lured into it because Letty's supposed to be there.
Yeah, we find out in a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene in the 5th movie that Letty is still alive, and that's also where we get a cameo from Eva Mendes.
Yes,
who doesn't work for the custom. She doesn't work for customs anymore. She works for DSS for some reason.
She was obviously promoted.
I guess. Yeah. That's fun though. Once again, they just reuse or use another character again, if only for one scene. Like that's like universe building almost. We're just she was in the last movie. We're not going to use that character again, but we need to have a character to deliver this message. Let's just use her. It will work.
Yeah,
makes it feel like lived in. They're building lore basically.
And contained. It's not like they're just throwing in new people all the time. They're actually using humans we know of.
Yeah. But in the 6th one, they're no longer like car thieves or doing heists in Rio. No. Now they're basically like super agents.
They're mercenaries almost.
Yeah, sort of. They're going after Luke Evans or Owen Shaw, as it's called in this one. And I think the 6th one is where they really push the family stuff to the max, because it's literally like Owen Shaw, he doesn't believe in family. He has a team where you can swap out any bad piece to make the team better.
Yeah.
And Dom is obviously like, no, it's family for life. And it gets a little hokey almost. It's like,
a little bit.
You believe in your family, that's how I'm gonna win over you.
A nice impression.
No, he doesn't sound like that, but he is British. No. So.
True. He is British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the plot is a little more convoluted because Owen Shaw is pretty clever when it comes to stealing stuff. So
in just running away as well. And
running away and stealing. Yeah.
Strange weapons and cars.
Yeah. So the plot is on like just in the elevator pitch is literally they're chasing like an even better super master thief spy terrorist guy through Europe.
Yeah.
Because it starts in Russia. Well, that's not Europe, but they start in Russia.
Well,
but that's only Hobbs.
Yeah, and Shaw.
And then it's London and Spain. Spain. England and Spain.
Well, they are specifically in London though.
Yeah. But once again, we get some amazing set pieces.
Yes.
But I gotta say, this one for me, out of these the newer Fast and Furious movies, this is probably the least exciting one, even though it has some amazing set pieces. It's just something about environments. Sort of like how Florida didn't really fit because it's so flat.
London isn't really a fast car city.
No, because of all the narrow streets and
There's a lot of stoplights and
yeah.
roundabouts and curves, and I mean, it amazes me that they're having races. I mean, the place that they have the race, it makes sense
Yeah.
if you're thinking about how that city is built, but it also doesn't, because
No, because it goes in the
there's
middle
always
of
traffic there as well. Like
yeah.
it surprises me that the streets are so empty.
It goes yeah, but it starts on like the outskirts. I'm not that familiar. You live there, so you know better. But it starts in like
No, if I'm thinking, if I'm thinking right, and if that place is what it is, I think it is. It's really close to Piccadilly Circus.
okay.
That
Yeah, I know
starting
'cause
circle place.
they go through Piccadilly Circus at one
Yeah,
point. Maybe it's closer to I don't know. But then it ends up closer to the water. I don't know exactly where.
yeah, but that's just down by the banks. It's still really central.
Yeah, yeah. It's a strange choice of setting, and it's all we've had urban settings before in Los Angeles, of course, in the first one, but at least that's
Yes.
like it's there's more color. It's
And
more
Los Angeles
open
have more straight
highways. You know,
streets and
that's
stuff.
not
Yeah,
clogged, at least not at night. You know, so they can drive. But London, strange choice.
it is a bit of a
But
strange
I mean,
choice.
it's the Europe movie. It's a globe-trotting franchise at this point. So
Yes,
we did South America in the last one, so now we'll do Europe, and in the next
yeah.
one we'll do all over the world.
And what's one of the biggest cities in Europe?
Yeah,
London, baby.
Yeah. This is London, baby.
I do love that cameo and that
But
specific.
who is that?
It's Rita Ora.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know these pop people. I don't know the name, but I didn't know that was her. Okay, whatever. The only one of those that I recognize is in the next movie is Iggy Azalea.
Yeah.
But Rita Ora. Okay, Rita Ora. But she says it good. This is London, baby.
Yes.
The L
I
is
love
in
that.
the front. I don't know. It sounds
It's
funny.
very, very English.
yeah. But then you have the first car chase where they have the weird looks like Formula 1 cars almost.
Yeah.
They're called
The ramp cars or something.
Yeah, they call them something like that. Yeah, that they literally use to like throw cars with, because they're like built like ramps in the front. It's really that one is it's cool, but once again it's shot at night. It's all in like the urban setting. It's not as exciting somehow.
No, everything's black and gray basically.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's the point because Shaw is known to disappear in shadows, basically.
Sure, yeah.
So it makes sense, but it doesn't give us the satisfaction of watching it. Because, I mean, compared to the first 2 movies, at least 3 even, in those movies, every car is a colorful car.
Yeah.
There's bright lights and neons and stuff. And this one, everything's pitch black.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. And that kind of continues because you have the shootout at the mechanics guy.
Yes.
Which is also everything takes place in like dingy garages and like abandoned high rises. The only like shiny thing is their base, I suppose, but they're not really in there a lot.
No. And that one scene when Tesh and Hobbs go to the fancy car auction.
Yeah, buy all the cars. Yeah. So all the London stuff. I mean, it's fun. It's exciting, but it's like.
It's kind of dreary.
Yeah, a little bit. But then we do get to Spain and the fucking amazing
the highway
car
heist
scene on the bridge with the tank.
Love that one. Except for that one being almost a bit too cruel for me compared to other.
There's a lot of civilian
other
cars being just crushed.
Yeah.
Like, there are people in that. They're dead.
You literally see people in the car, and then they cut to another angle, so you don't
Yeah.
see the people, and then they crush the car.
But, yeah, in that reality, they're dead. They just
Yes,
killed,
definitely.
Like 10 civilians.
And I mean, you can hear. I think Dominic's the one who says like, "Keep them away from the civilians,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Letty's like, "Dude, you don't have to crush them. That's unnecessary."
Yeah.
So
But
they do point it out.
oh yeah, sure. But then, like you said, they use is it a what's that British car called? The little small one. Oh, damn it.
What?
Do you know the one
I'm
they
thinking
use?
of a Mini Cooper, but I'm not
Yes,
sure
the
if
Mini
that's what
Cooper,
you're thinking
yes.
of. Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure Brian drives a Mini Cooper. It looks like a blue Mini Cooper because they did buy it in London. So, They use that as an anchor to catch the tank and
to slow it down at
to
least,
slow it
or
down,
something.
Yeah. And then you have the scene. Well, you have one scene where Roman jumps from a car being slowly crushed by the tank to Brian's car.
Yeah.
And that's all done for real, which is insane.
Which you can see, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because then you compare it to like the next big thing.
The next big thing is where
Dominic
jumps to save Letty. Because she's falling off the tank as it stops because of the
Well, she's
anchor.
standing on it as it stops, so she will be catapulted off it.
Yeah.
And Dominic sees that and predicts it, and it's
he jumps from his car, grabs her mid-air, and then lands on another car. That's where it started getting no, this is too much.
That's a bit too silly for me.
And it is CGI. You see,
they're
clearly CGI. It's they didn't do that. The only part they did for real is landing on the car.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if the physics are realistic.
No.
Because even though he's bigger than her, his trajectory would have been huh?
I was fiddling with a pen that was broken. Now I have ink on it.
Nice.
Anyway.
No, but even though he's bigger and heavier than her, his trajectory would have changed too much for that to be possible once he hit her mid-air.
Let's set it up. They're on either side. It's a bridge that has a
gap in between.
There's a gap in the middle. And you have
the lanes.
Yeah. So you have the tank coming from the right side. We say it doesn't matter, but yeah, the car and Dom coming from the left side. Letty's on the tank.
They're both going the same way, though.
No.
Same direction.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, because
they are. They're in the same
tank
direction.
is driving into oncoming traffic. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And when the tank almost flips, Letty's thrown off, and she's gonna fall into the gap. And it's like a 300 feet fall or whatever.
Drop.
Yeah. So Dom jumps out of his car. They're both going the same speed. He jumps out of his car, and they slam into each other right above the gap. But instead of falling straight down, which they should, even though he weighs more, they should just stopped. His I guess mass and speed throws them both back onto the tank lane where they land on a car.
Yeah. I mean, they probably would have moved slightly towards that because he is heavier, but they wouldn't have made it that far.
No, they would have
landed on the rail probably. They would have, and then broken a back and fallen down.
If even that, they would have just. I think they would have basically just stopped and fallen right down.
Yeah, because even though he crashes his car into the side of the road to flip himself,
not enough speed.
No,
and
specifically not from his tiny car compared to the tank and the even more abrupt stop that gets.
Yeah, and yeah, it doesn't
matter. You must be.
I don't know physics that good, but you have to be traveling at least twice the speed of that object, and you need to be considerably heavier.
I mean, he's heavier, sure.
She's 110 something pounds, and he's at least 200 pounds. But that's not enough. They're both just gonna stop.
Yes.
So,
even though it is silly.
Yeah, even though it is exciting, it's the first time you're like, no, that couldn't happen. And it obviously couldn't because they did it all with CGI.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, that is the first time I'm disappointed.
A little. I mean,
I
still enjoyed it, but yeah, it was
but that everything else with that chase, that highway chase scene is so cool, even and funny, even because you have change plans, guys. They have a tank.
They had a freaking tank. Yeah.
It's perfect, and then they kind of ruin it with that CGI jump.
Yeah.
They could have done something else. I don't know. Have him be on the same side of that gap instead, but that would have been as amazing, as cool, or spectacular, I guess.
Or he could have just I don't know.
Or made sure the gap was smaller.
He could have been behind the tank.
Yeah.
He jumps over a crushed car. So when she's flying over the gap, he comes behind her and just flies right in under her, so she lands on the roof of the car or something. That would have been insane as well.
Yeah.
But they would have been traveling in the same direction, and it would have made sense. They wouldn't just have.
No, you mean in the same lane?
No, same direction when they fly.
Oh yeah, you mean like that? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So then they could have in reality kept going in one direction instead of cheating gravity and just change direction midair. Anyway, that's whatever.
But then we come to the big
one, because that is literally like just like 10-15 minutes after that.
Because in between that, all you have is the reveal, basically, of the infiltrator or whatever they call it.
Yeah, which is what's her name? She's a UFC fighter.
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano, right? Who's been working with Hobbs, and turns out, she was a mole.
Yeah. Backtracking slightly, all the fight scenes between her and Letty are kind of awesome.
Yeah, we didn't skip over. They have a couple of fight scenes. You have
the one in the subway is very cool.
Yes, between Gina Carano and
Letty. Michelle
Rodriguez, thank you.
And then also you have the funny one with Roman and Han fighting the Asian dude in Shaw's team.
Yeah.
Jaw.
I didn't know back then, but that's Joe Taslim. He's in at least the first Raid movie, and he's in a couple of other movies. He was in Mortal Kombat recently.
Yes, he was in Mortal Kombat.
I didn't know back then because that came in 2011. 2013. I had seen the Raid. Oh, whatever. I didn't recognize him.
No, because first off, he's not very much in this movie. He's in a few fight scenes.
His big scene is that fight scene.
Yeah, and I don't remember if he has facial hair in the Raid, but he does in this one.
He has that same little goatee thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's a fun fight. That's one like an obvious, like, we're gonna put two like actors up against an actual martial artist, which is kind of funny.
And Roman's being like, "But you're Asian, fight him."
Yeah,
like, yeah, not that kind of.
Not
Asian.
every Asian knows karate, you fucking racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good fight scene. He just obliterates them.
Oh yes.
But other than that, yeah, the movie focuses more on like, Michelle Rodriguez or Letty.
Coming back to the team, I guess, like, or the family.
Understanding, like, this team I'm with now, they're not as good as this team hunting us. I should be with them. They seem nicer.
Yeah, because she realizes that Shaw is ruthless and he doesn't care. Someone dies and he's like, well, that means he's a faulty piece or whatever he says.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those scenes where you're like, oh my god, you're so cold.
And she's like, would you say that when we all die? He's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
If you die, you suck.
Yeah, but he does say, like, I've grown quite fond of you.
He's trying to convince her to stay.
So don't make the mistake of failing. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's so cold and evil. But then you
is
have
it in this one or the fifth one where Hobbs does the stay the fuck out of our way? No, that's number 5. Sorry,
that's the fifth one.
Just realized.
Yeah, that's the beginning when he talks to the local cop.
Yeah.
Last thing, stay the fuck out of our way.
That's the one fuck they use in that one.
Yeah.
Where did he use it in number 6?
It's Roman again, who says it. I don't remember when he says it, but it's one of the briefing scenes in their little headquarters. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
We should also mention, because it's kind of a thing in the trailers, that Roman always says, like, this mission is going to be even worse than the last one.
Yes.
Which that was kind of started in all the way back in Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, oh, we were supposed to be, undercover. Now we're fucking risking our lives for this shit.
Yeah.
And then in the fifth one, when he appears again, he goes, when they're on the roof looking down on the police station, he says, "This just went from Mission Impossible to Mission Frickin' Insanity."
Yeah.
And
he's always like pointing out that they're going above and beyond and getting worse.
Yeah, and in the sixth one, that's when he says, "This is fucking insane" or something. I'm out, basically, in the beginning.
But then he's not.
So. Yeah, but then he's not. Because, he has to be.
But then we get to the airstrip.
Shaw had a clever plan where he kidnapped Mia, so they had to let him go with the little chip that he wanted to create his dangerous bomb thing, whatever it is, the Nightshade. EMP.
Yeah, something.
So they run off to their plane that they're gonna drive onto while it's midair, basically. Well, it's gonna land, but it's never gonna stop.
No, when it's taking off, you mean?
Yeah. No. What?
The plane is taking off, not landing.
No, because they're driving down the airstrip. Everyone chases after them because they block out the signal, so we can't call and say kill Mia. And it says, they're on an airstrip. Where do they think they're going? And then you hear a plane coming.
Right. The
and
plane
Tesh
is just
says,
supposed
you
to
had
land
to say
in...
something. You had to open your big mouth.
Yeah, but the plane is supposed to just pick them up, though.
It's supposed to land,
so it's...
open the back so they can drive in and just keep going, basically. But
they just choose not to stop. They just keep going and let people drive on while they're still driving.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
But then...
Insane again, but that one looks less fake, at least.
Yes. I mean, obviously...
Except for one thing.
The big plane is fake, because they can't have a giant plane and cars driving under it. And also, that runway must be miles and miles and miles.
I mean,
that scene goes on forever.
It's part of the runway when they have that aerial shot when they come into the base. The base.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
No. But I mean, it's a movie.
Louise, it's a movie, yeah.
So it's the same thing where they manage
5 times longer.
They manage to drag out a 10-second race to like 5 minutes in the first movie.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
It's time, movies. But yeah, so this is basically cars trying to stop a plane from taking off while people are fighting inside the plane.
Yes. And cars are trying to drive onto the plane.
Yeah. And off. At one point. And obviously that one, once again, they're going a little over the top with a plane. So obviously the plane is fake, but they did have like cars, because the cars, they shoot like grappling hooks and attach it to the car, so they're dragging the plane down. They did that for real, not with a plane, but they had cars like hovering in the air because they were dragged on by a plane, and you have people on those cars and in those cars. And then of course the fight scene inside where you have Hobbs, Dom, and
Shaw and that dude Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus, the
Caucasian Hobbs.
the Caucasian Hobbs, the Danish bodybuilder who's in a short film from, I don't know when it's made, called Kim, I think. Really good short film. It's on YouTube. You can look it up.
He's in a bunch of things, though.
Yeah.
You mean Dennis?
Oh, Dennis, yes, because his real name is Kim, I think. Kim something. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Kim Cold.
Yeah.
Cool name.
It's a cool name, yeah. So, this is not as... In a way, it's almost more spectacular because there's a huge, like, freighter plane involved. Mm-hmm. But it's not... Once again, it's
not as exciting, though.
No, as the vault chase.
I think it's because this is very linear. You have like 15 different things happening at the same time, but they're all going in one line.
Yeah, and it's hard to say, like, this thing and this thing, because it's all just them hanging on to the plane and then fighting.
And then a lot of cutting in between, so you don't get the whole, like, actually seeing what's happening, because every time they cut, time goes backwards, obviously.
Yeah.
So you relive the moment. That's why the runway is so long.
Yeah.
But in number 5, you actually got to follow them going through the entire city, getting to that bridge.
Yeah.
And this one is just like...
And it's also, it's also more fun when our heroes are being chased. In this one, they're chasing.
Yes.
It's not as fun.
Yes. No.
But you do have some cool stuff. You have when all the vehicles are basically up in the air with the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Giselle basically sacrificing herself to save Han.
Yes.
She jumps off a car
so she can aim at the dude
behind Han, which is very, even though she's not in the movies that much, very sad. And that's
a shame.
Yeah.
They could have used that character, actually.
I think, though, they kind of wrote her out because she had, at that point, I'm pretty sure, already signed a contract for Wonder Woman. So
that's probably why.
She was going to be in the DC movies. That's probably why. And also because they, at some point in the future, had to write Han out of the story. So, they were kind of an item at this point. So. And
they kind of, with that, placed him in Tokyo for Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Yes.
So it works, but it's a shame.
It's a shame. And that's right. And that's when we're going to talk about them, like, constantly developing the characters and always having the characters interact and feel very familiar with each other. Even though she's obviously a side character. She's only been in, like, 2 movies, or 3 technically, but she's not even that much in the 4th one. it still like sucks when she dies, and it's sad, even though she's a side character.
It's very much also because of Han's reaction and
yes.
the acting, to be honest, because it feels so real. But I gotta say, it feels kind of stupid, because sure, she jumps off in that high of speed.
Yeah.
But Dominic crashes into the plane and walks out of fire.
I know. And
I'm like, come on, if he can walk out of fire, can she walk out of that?
And before that, Shaw gets thrown off the plane and is killed off. Even though we see him in the next movie, he's in the hospital bed alive.
Yeah.
And in the 8th one, he's actually in the movie. You know.
They could have done the same with Giselle, but yeah.
Well, you know what? Who knows if she... I haven't looked at any cast lists. Who knows if she appears in the 9th one? I don't think so, but who knows?
It's not impossible. She's done with Wonder Woman for now.
And they have brought back dead people before. I mean, Letty died. Han died.
We all know he's coming back.
That's kind of funny. People always talk about, oh my god, they killed off Han, but then they got him back. You're like, oh, nobody talks about the fact that Letty died in the 4th one, and then she was just alive in the 6th one.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that.
No. I don't know what it is. I think Han is a very appreciated character, even though he...
It's also because, since they retcon it, they had to say that, oh, the 3rd movie where he dies actually takes place in the future, so it's more convoluted. I think that's also
I guess.
why. But yeah, man, they have a habit of bringing back characters, so...
Yes.
And in the 9th one, they're literally bringing him back, because now he is back in the present time, so...
Yeah, I am curious how they explain that.
Yes, I think they're just going to say, oh, I jumped out of the car. I don't know.
well, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Yeah. The 6th movie ever, it ends with them blowing up the plane, because Han throws the guy who Giselle shot. He throws him into the
motor,
the engine. Yeah, but that's not that's not what destroys the plane.
No, that's what blows up that. I think it's Dominic doing something with a car.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happens. A bunch of stuff happens.
It's a bit blurry and a lot of fire.
Yeah, because the plane goes down. Everyone detaches from the plane and drives off, and then the plane explodes with Dom inside the plane still. And like, oh no! But then he jumps out of the front of the plane in a car.
He walks out through the flames with that bag in his hand.
First he jumps out, but then the plane overtakes him, and you're like, oh my god, he's lost in the fire inferno. Because he jumps out with a car through the plane.
Yeah, that's true.
But then
then he walks out of the flames.
And everyone's like, yay! And it's kind of funny because everyone's happy he's returning, and he's all the way over there, and everyone's like, oh my god, he survived. And then Mia looks at Han like, where's Giselle? Also funny, they've never interacted really. Han and Mia.
Mia and Giselle, or Han and Mia?
Mia and Giselle have, but Han and Mia have never really interacted.
No, that's
But she's the one that recognizes that Giselle is gone and walks up to hug him the first. Once again, adding to, they're all just family.
Yeah, but it's also because she's the only one who's like emotionally in tune with anything.
Sure, yeah.
No one else seems to have any emotions, but she does.
Yeah.
It might be because she's pregnant.
No, she's just had a baby.
She just had a baby. You know, motherly feelings or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but she says, where's Giselle? And then she hugs Han. It's super sad for like 30 seconds. And then Dom has walked from the wreck to them. And they're like, oh, everyone's happy. Dom survived. Yay. It's like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a bit of like...
It's a little like, it gets pushed to the side a little bit. Brushed to the side a little bit. Pretty fast.
They just kill her off and kind of don't care about her.
I mean, they care,
but the guy
you
comes back.
Yeah,
but it's not enough.
Yeah, but you can't have a big like cry scene because it's supposed to be the triumphant end.
Yeah, I know.
So, and they do recognize it because then they're back, having barbecue in the old house, 1327 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's basically just sitting there like, nah, I'm gonna go to Tokyo.
Yeah, I have to do this.
Yeah, so they do recognize it.
That's true. That's true. But it feels kind of diminished.
A little bit, yeah. But she's also just a side character, so.
True.
But then we have the movie ends with Hobbs, of course, showing up like, oh, you did the job. Here are your clean slates. Now you're free to live in America again. And that's
even though he says that if we do this, the thingy goes out the window.
Yeah, that's when they let them go, but they do capture him after that. So
And they get the
thing back,
chip,
the Nightshade
whatever.
chip. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's the most awkward scene ever when Elena, who has been living with and unwittingly carries Dom's baby, been living with him in his island paradise for like 2 years between 5 and 6. He meets Letty and like, he's a great guy, huh?
No, she meets Letty.
Yeah.
You said he.
I said she. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, and they're like buddy over it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, because Dom is such a great guy that Elena doesn't even care that she has to go back to, I guess, living in Rio now or whatever she does.
She just have to give back her man to his ex.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be dead.
It's
like you shouldn't be so okay with that.
No, yeah,
there should have been like some cattiness between them or something. Him having to choose.
But that's not what the movie's about. Everyone's family, so it's fine.
It's fine. You could have multiple wives. It's
yeah,
alright.
it's cool. And you have this weirdly shot scene between Dom and Hobbs where they're not looking at each other. They're kind of looking past each other. They're standing side by side, but facing different ways and like, not too bad for a cop. Oh, not too bad for a criminal or whatever. And then they laugh about it. But they don't look at each other. But it's filmed from the side, so they're in profile, so it kind of looks like they're looking at each other, but it's like forced perspective.
Yeah.
So Hobbs looks a lot smaller than Dom, and when they switch, it looks like Dom is a lot smaller than Hobbs.
I think it's because they both want to look like the bigger guy.
It looks super awkward. That's
where their competition and diva-ish style shows through as well.
I think it was just a weirdly chosen angle. Because they want to do the thing where they don't look at each other because, you know, they want to be a little
cool for that.
They want to be a little standoffish, but they laugh in the end. But the way they chose the angles for that scene, it just looks like it's like when they shoot the Hobbit scenes in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And you force perspectives. They shrink. So it looks. There's even a video on YouTube from a YouTuber where he points that out. Like, is this are they supposed to be looking at each other and they just failed, or
nah?
No, it's obviously not that. But it almost looks like they wanted to shoot it. It almost looks like they're shot on like different days or something. It's just
possibly
just looks strange.
Yeah.
But whatever. The movie ends with Roman saying grace, and then the movie ends.
And then we have number 7.
Yeah, but I gotta say, this is already partly because Giselle, the character, dies, but also because there's like a finality to the ending of the 6th one. Like, they're back, they're free, and it ends with them saying grace.
Yeah.
But because we know what happens in the future, it was just like that's where the feels started hitting me. Because of what happens in the 7th, or what happened behind the scenes in the 7th one, or whatever I want to say. Because we should say 6th one, still a good movie, not as good as the 5th one. I still was like, oh my god, over the bridge scene and the plane scene when I saw it the first time, but rewatching it now is a little like, this is not as good.
No. The bridge scene is like the best part, and then everything else is.
Yeah, I agree. The bridge scene is the best part. And it's also the one that feels the most like fun because it's sunny and it's technically in a more tropical climate, Spain, even though we don't see mountains, but still.
Yeah.
It is Spain. So.
There's sunlight and colors.
yeah. It's not in the middle of the night in a concrete jungle.
Yeah.
But then we get to the 7th one.
Yes.
But before the 7th one was released, of course, Paul Walker died, ironically, in a car crash.
Yes.
So, and this was during filming, not during filming, but you know, the film wasn't finished yet, and he was at some sort of charity event, I think.
Yes, with a friend, if I remember correctly, and they drove home.
Yeah, and lost control
intoxicated.
Of the car.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember exactly. I don't think they were intoxicated.
Whatever. They crashed.
Yeah, I saw an interview with his family. I don't think he was intoxicated. Either way.
I don't think he was driving even.
He was driving, yes.
Oh, okay.
He was driving. It was him and another guy who was just like a friend or an array. He had something to do with the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he died while they were still filming. And this, of course, for all the fans of the franchise, this is like, oh shit, that was very sad. But it also then, like, how are they going to finish the movie? Which is kind of like, I guess that's that's not important, but you still ask, like, how are they going to finish the movie? So they did a lot.
Yeah.
They of course used like body doubles for a lot, because when you look at it, it feels like he didn't film a lot for the movie. They say that he was like mostly finished, but it feels like,
yeah. I have like 2 scenes in mind that I think is a body double.
There's a few ones where you can really tell it's a body double. Well, it's one of his. I think it's his younger brother, because they look a lot alike.
It is his brother.
Yeah.
And then they like CG'd his face a little bit.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell it in the last scene.
Last shot. That's a reused shot where they. That's him though, but I think it's a reused shot from either the 5th or the 4th movie that they just relit, and then they move his jaw digitally to make him talk. Say different
I thought
words.
they put his face on his brother's.
No, not for that scene. I'm pretty sure that's reused footage.
And they do use the exact same footage twice in that scene to add him in one more time, basically.
Yeah, but
that scene must have been post-scripted. Like they that in afterwards.
They added that afterwards. I mean, I haven't looked into this, but it feels like a lot of this. It feels like the script was changed a lot to accommodate to the fact that they didn't have the character Brian anymore, because he is kind of sidelined a little bit. In the beginning, he's stuck in the Dominican Republic. And then during the movie, he doesn't really have much to do other than he's the guy that fights that guy and goes to fix that thing. He's never in the emotional scenes. No. And I wonder if that is rewriting or if this was just a more Dominic-centric movie, which it feels like.
Well, I think I
haven't looked into that.
It's supposed to be. No, I haven't either. But the way they're talking about it, because he's a father now, he has to be a father. It feels like they were already planning on kind of having him be
and that is
slightly less in it.
That is, from what I understand, part of the script, that he's kind of like he kind of wants to still be doing the action lifestyle, but also wants to be a dad. So he's kind of he's torn between the two. But it's not explored enough in the movie. So I guess maybe there would have been more of that if they had actually could work with him more. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, just correcting myself. It's not just one of his brothers. It's both of his brothers.
Both brothers. Okay, I know.
Both Caleb and Cody.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna quickly look. I don't think it says anywhere.
I'm trying to find like the trivia page, but I don't like this new IMDb layout. I don't get it.
What? Okay, I've been using it for so long. So. I don't think it says much about any rewrites. I mean, the script must have been done because they were in production of the film when he died. So, but here it says though, some of Paul Walker's dialogue and footage was taken from previous Fast and Furious films. Yes. For example, Brian's conversation with Mia in the Dominican Republic garage, the scene where he just sits in the garage and looks at footage, is actually the deleted scene from Fast 5, which is super weird.
Oh.
I don't know how that would fit in, but it does, I suppose. Similarly, the plane conversation between Dom and Brian has every shot of Walker rotoscoped from the conversation with Dom about their fathers from the same film. Oh, okay.
Most of Jordana Brewster's scenes
were
shot at the very end, so she couldn't shoot them with Paul Walker because he was already dead by then.
That sucks.
That's gotta be horrible.
And there are other few scenes where she interacts with Brian, then she's obviously interacting with
one of his brothers or a stand-in of some sort.
Yeah.
But the actual movie.
The actual movie, yes, is once again this also feels like it's part of the rewrite because it's weird. It's partly them being chased by Jason Statham playing Deckard Shaw, Owen Shaw's brother. So it's a revenge story, but a reverse because it's not them having revenge on someone; it's someone revenging on them, which is fun. And that could have been a movie.
I find kind of weird though, because he doesn't like Shaw. Brian, what's the younger one?
Owen.
Owen Shaw is really anti-family, but then his brother comes to revenge him. It's like,
Yeah, I know, but
Okay, thought family didn't matter, but okay, sure.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I think he's kind of the what you call it
The black
the
sheep.
black sheep. Yes, it's called black sheep, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The family black sheep is Owen. I think, and they don't really say
Yeah,
that,
probably.
but there is definitely animosity between the brothers, which we see in the 8th movie.
Yes.
We hear in the 8th movie. But anyway, yeah. So you have that them being chased by Deckard Shaw, and getting help from. They don't get help from Hobbs this time because he's the first one to go, which I like. Less Hobbs in this movie.
Yes.
He takes a lot of space in the 6th movie when he's part of the team. Which I know I like the Rock. I like Dwayne Johnson as an actor. He's a charming guy, but
Sure.
I can understand why there was drama behind the scenes because he kind of comes in takes over the franchise a little bit.
Yeah, he tries to outshine Vin Diesel, who is the main alpha.
He's the main guy, you know.
Yeah.
So I know
Dwayne Johnson steps in trying to make this his movie now.
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's also
no.
At that point he is and still is the more famous of the two.
Sure.
So
because Vin Diesel is mostly just known for this and probably Riddick, maybe.
Yeah. And
Triple X, I guess, if some people know about that.
Yeah, if some people
Not everyone knows about that.
No, but I mean, yeah,
though.
that's what I mean. That's not like a big franchise. Nobody remembers Triple X.
But Dwayne Johnson is like, everyone
he was
knows
in every
who The
movie
Rock
back
is.
then. He's still almost in every movie made.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing that they got him for this franchise. It legitimizes them as a big franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just, it creates a power struggle between the stars. And it can be felt in the 6th one. It can definitely be felt in the 8th one, where he kind of takes over as the main hero guy because Dom is the quote-unquote bad guy in the 8th
guy.
One. But still.
Yeah.
In the 7th one, he is taken out of commission early in the movie, which is nice. So it's just the main team.
Yes.
But
back to the roots, basically.
Yeah, but then they introduce another plot where this super dark shadow covert operations guy, Mr. Nobody, played by Kurt Russell, shows up and says, "We need you for a mission." It's like, but what about the revenge plot? Okay, what's the mission? Oh, we need you to get this. We need you to rescue this this hacker because this hacker has something called the God's Eye, which is like a super radar that can locate anyone on the face of the earth in like an hour. Okay, but we're being chased by an insane terrorist.
Shaw, though.
Yeah, but they don't.
It's kind of
because throughout the movie they don't. Because he constantly shows up where they are anyway.
They could have just stopped and let him come to them, which they say. Someone says that in the movie,
Dom says that like in the beginning, like we can just wait for Shaw to come to us. And Mr. Nobody says, "Well, wouldn't it be better if you could find him before he finds you?" Like, okay.
Yeah, because you want to be the one with the upper hand, I guess. But if you wait for an ambush, aren't you still in the upper hand?
I don't know. But then
maybe not against him because he's also a super spy of some sort.
Yeah. So then the movie becomes them looking for this rogue military general, Mose Jakande, played by Jimon Hunsu,
who has captured
Ramsey because he wants the God's Eye radar thing from her.
Yeah.
Spoilers, because they don't know it's a her at the beginning. They make a big thing out of a lady
because Ramsey is not a girl name.
Ooh. Anyway, so you have these two plots going on, but then halfway through the movie, basically after the Abu Dhabi scene, they get God's Eye, so that mission is finished. But then
they're chasing him.
Yeah, so now they're chasing him, but he now has backup from Mose Jakande because they teamed up at some point.
I'm guessing after they get Ramsey, Deckard Shaw, and the other military team, they kind of like, well, he ran down that cliff. You want to like team up to get him?
Yeah, but they never fleshed that out. And you have an Academy Award nominated actor, Jimon Hunsu, playing this warlord guy who barely has any dialogue, has zero character development, and really just
barely any screen time. Even.
Yeah, barely. She basically fills the role of like the second-hand thug.
Yeah.
And
except for in the end when he's like, well, guess our friendship's over.
Yeah, because he
only specific thing he does.
He captures God's Eye, recaptures God's Eye, with the help of Deckard Shaw. But then he still wants to kill Ramsey so she can't build another God's Eye for the government.
Yeah.
So that's why they're chasing them in the end. But it's also... So that's why Mose Jakande is chasing them, but then also Shaw is chasing them to avenge his brother.
Who's only in hospital. He's not dead.
He's not dead, yeah. So it's like, overreaction
And
much?
he's already killed someone and tried to kill the rest of them before the movie even starts, basically.
It feels like two plots from two different movies. Not like, they're completely different. They work in the same, but it feels like it should have been one movie with Shaw as the bad guy and one movie with Jakande as the bad guy. And
I don't know if they had, they didn't have enough to make a 2-hour movie, so they were like, guess we throw both in one.
Or if they had to... Wait, let's see. Here it says. It doesn't say what, but I just looked here. Although there was some consideration about scrapping the film altogether because of Paul Walker's death, the film eventually resumed productions following rewrites to address Walker's absence and give his character a proper send-off. So probably the whole thing about him being worried that he's not going to be a good dad and he's going to miss the bullets, I'm pretty sure that's part of the rewrites, because all those scenes are with Mia, and they shot those scenes at the end. So
yeah.
But I'm wondering also then if some
what
part
was
of
the original supposed to be?
Yeah, I wonder that. And was both Deckard Shaw and Mose Jakande in the movie then? Because it really feels like two different movies.
Part of it, I'm trying to think, because the whole saving Ramsey is obviously part of the Deckard Shaw story in one way or another.
Yeah.
Because that is one big action scene that they did not just throw together to rewrite.
Sure.
That bus scene is really cool. And that was filmed with the original Paul Walker, as far as I know.
You think of the end? Or the
the beginning. Not beginning, but when they rescue Ramsey.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. Yeah, but that's not when they team up. They team up when they find him in Abu Dhabi after they jump to the houses, when Mr. Nobody gets shot.
Yeah.
That's when
I'm saying that part, saving Ramsey, was most likely part of the original script.
Sure, yeah. I guess, but then it's really weird because it's weird to have two main bad guys, but then only give development to one of them.
But I don't know how much is Jakande actually shown in that scene until the end where they drive off the cliff. I'm trying to remember.
No, he's barely in that scene until the end.
Yeah, so maybe that part is a rewrite.
But that would be weird to bring in a well-known actor like that for a shit role like that.
Was he well-known back then as well? I don't remember when he started becoming well-known.
He was Academy Award nominated back in the 90s.
Oh.
He was in Blood Diamond with
that's right.
What's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. He was, for a long time, he was supposed to play Kratos in the God of War movie. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's very, very, he doesn't do a lot of movies, I suppose, but he does prestigious movies for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's weird to see him in this kind of character work. I don't know, it was weird. And
it is a bit weird.
The plot never really worked. That part of the plot never really worked for me, that they have this random warlord that they gotta stop. And also
I don't
Deckard Shaw.
understand how he knows of the God's Eye and why he wants it.
Yeah. It feels tacked on.
A bit, yes.
Yeah.
However, that bus scene is very cool. I like that scene.
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah. Let's because that's the bad.
That's
part.
one of the big.
That's the bad stuff in number 7. But let's talk about all the good stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff as well.
Yes.
Because this one ups the ante even more, but somehow makes it seem less over the top than the 6th one, I think.
It's somewhat more realistic. I'm saying somewhat.
Somewhat, sure.
Because it's not realistic at all.
Parachuting with cars?
Yeah, it's not realistic at all, but it's more realistic. I don't know, it just feels...
Well, this is also the first movie since number 2 that is not directed by Justin Lin.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because the sixth one was supposed to be his like saying goodbye. That's when he wanted to do other stuff. He didn't want to be known as the Fast and Furious guy. So it was a big like send off with the sixth one, and that's why the sixth one, just as the fifth one, was kind of supposed to be the one last ride, one final mission.
Yeah.
The sixth one was also like was gonna be like the final movie because it ends with like a montage of scenes from the older movies because it was the last.
Even though
Justin
I think
Lin
that's a
movie.
bit of a. Isn't that a bit of a like epilogue as well though?
No, it's in
not epilogue.
It's in the credits. You just see like footage
of
the older movies because it was maybe supposed to be the last one, even though they introduce Deckard Shaw's character in a post-credit scene in that movie or mid-credit scene. So every movie feels like it's gonna be the last movie, which is good because that means that every movie is its own movie. It doesn't like has to be like it's a contained story.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a new mission each movie. Yeah. It's not like a continued mission throughout all of them.
So that's fine. But back to the good stuff in this movie. The stunts, the action.
Yes.
It's directed by damn it, what's his name now? I love him. James Wan, the director of the Conjuring movies and the Insidious movies. Done a lot of horror movies, almost all horror movies except for one where he did a movie called Death Wish, which is another remake of the Charles Bronson Death Wish, but it's based on the same book.
Yeah.
People just it's a horror guy making action movies, but he made an action movie before. But that's just one. But I was excited about this because I like James Wan's earlier movies. But then he had the unenviable task to try and make a movie without one of the main characters. The only one who's been in basically all movies except for the third one. And have to like piece together a movie with one of his stars dying halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
They did still manage to throw out some really cool action scenes.
Yeah, because like,
I mean, you have the whole bus scene that we've talked about. I love that one, specifically the ending with Brian running on top of the bus,
jumping
very
off
cool.
the bus. Yeah, and how that scene starts with them parachuting onto a mountain with cars.
Yes, and Roman running in last minute to save the day almost.
Yeah. Ramming Deckard.
Yeah.
And even before that, you have the fight between Hobbs and Deckard Shaw in
at
the DSS building.
DSS office. Yeah.
Where he is. It's supposed to show that Deckard Shaw is the most dangerous rogue agent ever because he can beat up even Hobbs. But he takes so many hits to the face by Hobbs in that one. It's like, come on, dude, you're supposed to be losing in this fight. That's what it feels like. Big egos.
It takes a literal bomb, a grenade, to beat Hobbs.
Yeah. It should have been like the fights between Nathan Drake and the girl in Uncharted 4.
Yes.
Where you can never hit her because the director is a bullshit white knight virtue singler. So you can't beat women, but it's okay to shoot 100 people as long as they're not women. Anyway, it should have been that fight. Deckard Shaw should have just like
dodged
everything, countered every move, and just beat him to shit. But no, he almost dies and has to use a grenade to win the fight, which is just like, but it's a cool fight.
Yes,
and it has like telltale James Wan stuff. It has the cameras flipping upside down. There's
rolling with them, and then
and then later in the bigger action scenes, there's a lot of like super wide angles where you see everything. Very, very James Wan.
Very James Wan. Very pretty.
Yeah, he shoots action really well. I wish he would make more action movies. I mean, he did do Aquaman a while back, but I would like to see.
That's just a bunch of CG.
Yes, I would like to see him do more stuff like Furious 7, as it's called.
Yes.
Because you have that fight scene. You have them jumping out of a plane with cars. Which is insane. They didn't do it for real, obviously, but it's still fun. They did, however, use because you see them landing on the mountain. They're flying actual cars through the air on cranes. Obviously, they're not using real parachutes, but still, they're still landing mid-air, landing on the mountain road, which is awesome. And then having the whole scene where they're trying to catch up to the bus, and the bus having like 16 miniguns on it, and so many cars crashing, and The
Ramsey hanging on the hood of Dom's car for
yes, and that's
it
real.
feels like an hour.
Once again, a stunt woman jumped from the ripped in half bus onto a speeding car and then hang onto that car while it swerves back and forth.
He doesn't even get a proper grip on the ledge there. It's just Jesus Christ. And then the little bump to get her to jump up on the roof. Love it.
And then you have
so well coordinated.
And then they try to sell it that Paul Walker can survive even 1 second in a fight against Tony Jaa, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
Because Tony Jaa, even though he's mostly like a performer, he's still like a distinguished martial artist, so it's weird to see.
But I mean,
him...
it's a cramped space, so all the jumping and flipping isn't really gonna.
I suppose it's just funny
useful.
that surfer dude Brian tries to fight Tony Jaa. It's like no.
You can see the later in the movie win in their fighting styles. Yeah,
okay. But then you have him, jumping off the bus as it rolls off a cliff, being captured by or caught by Letty.
Yes.
And then after that,
that's when they go to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, right. Sorry. I was like, what is in the middle? I forgot. Oh,
when Ramsey wakes up, they go to Abu Dhabi because she's like, well, I mailed it to a friend.
Yeah, and he sold it to a prince who installed it into a super car. Super car, which is stuck in the penthouse of the highest, not the Burj Khalifa, but one of the highest buildings in Abu Dhabi. Wait, that's not the same city. That's why. Yeah, that's why the Burj Khalifa isn't there. Because they're not in... what's that city called?
The
other one?
No.
You know the one.
Dubai?
Dubai, thank you. They're not in Dubai. They're in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Anyway. So now they have to get that chip. And at first, they're just going to, open it up, take the chip, and leave.
Walk in and take it, yeah.
But then once again, Deckard Shaw shows up. Remember they needed that radar to find him? Okay.
Yeah.
Or,
he seems to be having one of those radars.
Yeah, because he can find them everywhere. So, after a shootout and some fights, once again, a very good fist fight between Michelle Rodriguez and this time another UFC fighter.
Yes, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, yeah.
Rousey, yeah.
And this time, instead of having tactical gear, they're wearing, ball gowns.
Party dresses.
Yeah.
It also, Letty, kicks the ass of... I think there's 3 of the what's the female army called?
I don't remember. But yeah,
Yeah. Because in that part of the world, the females in those armies are badass.
They're trained as lifeguards. Or, lifeguards, bodyguards.
But they're supposed to be badass.
Yeah,
she beats 3 of them, and then Ronda.
The main Ronda Rousey, a bodyguard.
Yeah,
Ronda Rousey, not really acting much, but the one line she has, terrible line delivery.
Yeah,
she has done acting after that, which is better, but here she sucks, man. I'm sorry.
I think she was just happy to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, that's about when she wanted to step away from her fighting career because
I think she had her first
problems
loss
with her managers and stuff.
Yeah, that's when she stopped UFC fighting. Yeah, I think she had one more fight after that, but still. But that fight's great. Once again, Michelle Rodriguez delivering an awesome fight with a UFC fighter.
Yes,
and at the same time you have Tesh showing some fighting skills in the server room, which is okay.
He's just flexing on Ramsey because he wants to get her.
Yeah, that's a comedic side bit in this one, that Roman and Tesh are fighting over who gets to, I guess, be with Ramsey.
Yeah.
Classic one being, does she really want to be with any of them? Which they never do. They don't go for the obvious feminist haha, I don't want to be with any of you.
Yeah, I kind of thought they would go but I'm a lesbian.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know how to say this the right way. It's refreshingly 90s kind of retro sexist in a way.
Yes,
we were just oh my god, what a body, and guys oh no, she's mine. Oh no, she's mine, and they're doing rock paper scissors or flipping a coin or whatever, and they're never haha. Oh,
but they are kind of called out for it.
Yeah, they all call out for it, obviously. But to even have a scene like that,
it's still lighthearted and it works.
Yeah,
because it's their character. It works with their characters.
But to even have a scene like that in 2015 is what the fuck? But it's fun. So it works.
Yeah.
But then, since Shaw shows up at the party, they're at the party to get to the car to get to the chip. They can't just leave.
They
obviously,
have to make a getaway of some sort.
So they try to drive out of there, but they're in a penthouse. So where else to go but down? So they jump.
Luckily into the next penthouse.
Yes, they jump a $3 million car from one skyscraper to another, and then a third one.
To a third.
Obviously, this isn't real.
No,
you can't jump through 3 skyscrapers.
No.
But
I don't even get how the brakes break, but apparently they do sometime during that jump.
Shaw shoots a grenade at the car.
Oh, that's right.
When they jump out of the first window, they get hit by the grenade. That's why they have such fucking force going into the second one. I guess that's when it breaks. They don't really explain it. That's fine. Yeah. But even though this is obviously like a fake, they still like launch a real car through an entire building, a building mock-up that they built like 40 feet into the air. That's about like 12 meters up in the air. They launch
just to get the aerial shots kind of looking genuine. So they launch it
off of a ramp into the second building. Is the one they actually built for real with all the terracotta soldiers or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, the Chinese army soldiers.
Yeah, there's like an exhibit in that building, and they just crush them all.
Those statues are like one of the most invaluable items in the world.
Yeah, I know.
And they had like 12 of them there, and they crushed them. I was like, if that would have been for real, that would have been the most expensive thing ever.
Yeah, and then when they land into the third building, which is like an unfinished, at least that floor is
No,
unfinished.
the second building is the unfinished one, and the third one is the terracotta one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because it's a third one they filmed for real in.
Because the second one is just building materials. So.
Yeah, so they crash through some aluminum beams, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they get the chip out, and they have to get out of the car because now they're out of skyscrapers to land in.
Yeah.
And they actually filmed inside that building for real, inside a building, that floor of a building for real, having the car spin for real, and having 2 actors or stunt people jump out of a spinning car, which is, even if they're like spinning it slow, you gotta jump it the right way, otherwise the back of the car is gonna hit you and not kill you but hurt you. So they had to jump out, and then the car would continue out of that and falling like 10 feet down.
I wonder how many cars they crashed trying to film that perfectly.
They did film one, probably not a real one of those because they're very expensive and there are very few made. But they did film that car crashing down for real. They didn't use that because, once again, it's a very obvious CGI car landing in the movie.
Oh, I found over 230 cars were destroyed during the filming of this movie alone.
I know.
I'm betting like 30 of those cars were just that scene.
Probably. But it's just insane that they even filmed parts of that for real.
Yes. But again,
imagine if that was a Marvel movie. It would have been all CGI.
Yeah. Which I fucking love that they did most parts of this real.
This is just me bashing Marvel again, or Disney, because I like it. Remember, because they don't have a lot of car chases in those movies.
No.
Those movies. They have one that's pretty cool in Winter Soldier. That's about it, though. But then they have the one in, I think it's Hong Kong, in Black Panther.
Yes.
It's a cool car scene. Problem is, 80% of it is fake.
Yeah.
Even when they're just driving down streets.
Yeah.
And that's so they can have CGI characters jumping back and forth between the cars.
But, and they didn't have to rent out a street and put extras on it and all that stuff. So
that scene is super spectacular, but it doesn't feel exciting. Even though they have invisible cars and people in suits that can like harness energy and so they can jump super fast.
However, in the Marvel universe, it's kind of more forgiving because everything is more fantastical in the Marvel universe.
But if you're gonna have a car chase, then actually you can do car chases for real.
Yeah.
If everything's so fantastical, just skip the car chases and go straight for like spaceships.
Have them flying or whatever. Yeah.
Come on. Here,
you have
they
cars
actually launch
and it's
a
cars.
car into a building twice.
Fucking love it.
And like more than half of it is actually real, and then they just add CGI around it.
It's fantastic.
Yes, that makes it more exciting, even though it's less exciting, you know, on percentage-wise. It's technically.
Well, yeah, but the realism behind it and
Makes it more
seeing that it
exciting.
is real makes it so exciting.
Yes, exactly.
Fucking love it.
Yes, and that scene, I mean, because in the trailer, they only showed they did jump between two buildings, jumped out of one and into one. So I was like, oh my god, I saw one, I want to see that. And then we
And
sat
then
in the theater, and they jumped out of the building. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, this is the one you came to London to see with me, right?
Yes, we're gonna get to that, yeah. But then, the brakes aren't working, so Dom just speeds up and goes through the window and jumps to the next. I almost fainted when I saw it. I was like,
yeah.
what the fuck is going on? And then after that, there isn't a lot of action between that and the end there.
No.
You have the shootout where Mr. Nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's really just set up for the last scene, or the last sequence, where they're back in Los Angeles.
Right, because they want to bring it back to home turf.
Yeah. And there's a two folds like action scene. One where Dom faces off against Deckard, hand to hand, on the top of a parking garage. And at the same time, the rest of the team has to stop Jakande from killing Ramsey.
They're playing hot potato with Ramsey, basically.
Yes, throwing her in and out of cars more than once.
While spinning.
Yes, and while having an attack helicopter and a Predator drone chasing them through Los Angeles.
Yes.
It is not as much of like a central set piece as it is just them driving through the streets. So in a way, it feels less focused than like Fast 5 and the plane scene in Fast 6.
It has a bit of the same fault as the London scenes in Fast 6.
A little bit, because it's all dark.
Dark and very fast and very choppy.
Yeah.
But so you don't really keep up with what's happening.
What makes it better is that they do intercut then with the fight between Shaw and Dom, and it's it's a sword fight, but they use big ass wrenches instead.
That's a classic sword fight, like a knight versus knight.
Yeah.
Or even like just a lightsaber fight almost, because they're jumping in and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
and
awesome.
It's a great fight, and you have a bunch of cool stunts during the chase scene as well. Like we said, they throw Ramsey from. She's driving with Letty, I think, but then she jumps to.
No, she's in Paul's Brian's car.
In Brian's car. Then she jumps
She gets thrown through the window into Tesh and Roman's car
as they spin around each other.
And then Brian jumps out and the drone hits his car.
Right. And then when the chopper is chasing them, when they're in the tunnel, she jumps from Roman and Tesh into Letty's car.
Mm-hmm.
All the while being chased by this helicopter, who also blows up an antenna in the middle of Los Angeles. I mean, where are the cops? I mean, they can't do anything, but where are the cops? So then Brian
there's no cops in this one.
Brian has to get into that tower, and he needs to hook up to another tower or something. He runs into a building. That's where he fights Tony Jaa again, and somehow beats Tony Jaa in a hand-to-hand fight. It's like, come on. But I mean, he's the hero.
Doesn't make sense, but he's the hero,
yeah. And then of course.
And then the street wins.
Yeah.
Stop.
No, well, before that, we have because when the tower blows up, this of course all over the news, and Hobbs sees this from his hospital bed and actually sees the explosion outside his window since he's in an LA hospital.
Yeah.
So he says, "Daddy's gotta go to work," and flexes out of his cast, his broken
arm. Luckily, his leg isn't no longer in a cast, so it's just his arm.
He steals an ambulance, drives into the city, crashes into the drone after jumping off a bridge before it attacks Roman and Tej. Shoots the drone in the head, basically, because it has a camera.
Yeah.
So steps on it, shoots it in the head, rips off the minigun that's attached to the Predator drone, uses that minigun, walking down the street, shooting at the chopper as it's trying to kill Dom.
Yeah.
So at the same time, he's shooting at it with a minigun. Dom then gets into his car, jumps towards the helicopter, misses, but fortunately has the bag of grenades that was conveniently there, which he hangs on the helicopter. Hobbs then pulls his revolver, shoots the bag of grenades, and the helicopter explodes. And he's just like, what? What just happened?
Again, very over the top and fantastical, but somehow it...
Yeah, because it's just a guy with a big gun and a guy with a car. It's not a giant plane and, you know.
Yeah, it's still less...
It feels more real somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also it feels like Dwayne Johnson wanted to show that he is the biggest, baddest, strongest dude in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's lifting that shit that weighs so much. Then he pulls chunks of concrete off of Dominic's car.
Oh, yeah.
As if they're nothing. But he needs help with the car door from Brian.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, he pulls chunks of concrete that are like his size and his thickness.
Yeah.
Off of a car. Come on.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then you have this big emotional scene of them reviving.
Yeah, because they try to do fake out Dom dying, because he survived jumping through an exploding plane, but here he has to crash his car going down like 3 flights of stairs.
And that kills him.
That's gonna kill him? Okay.
He has blood on his head, but he doesn't have a wound.
Yeah.
And it's dried already. I don't know if that was from the fight.
There's like a little cut on his forehead. That's about it. Oh no, he's dead. But yeah, of course he comes back.
Of course.
Because Letty talks
While
to him.
Letty reminds him.
I remember everything.
I remember that we're married. And you see, it's a very... Sentimentally, it's beautiful that they're married, but the shot of the wedding is awful. It looks so cheap and bad and just cheesy.
He got married in a white tank top?
Yeah.
What the fuck? At least she had a wedding dress on.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because he's wearing like casual, like, oh, this is a small, not planned wedding.
Yeah, he's literally wearing a white tank top. And white pants.
She's wearing a full-on wedding gown. Could they not just match their energies there?
I don't know. I mean...
It looks like she spent hours, and he's like, yeah, okay, let's do it tonight.
Yeah. But he wakes up, and everything's good. Shaw is still alive, so they put him in an ultra-maximum facility.
Yeah.
And, then we get to the scene where they're on a nondescript beach. I'm guessing somewhere in Los Angeles?
Guessing?
Yeah, where they have the...
Or maybe they went back to South America. I'm not sure.
Where they have this scene where they explain that Brian and Mia, like, they have to retire from the crew because of
because they have
children now. They're a family.
They have a second child on the way, so.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
You can't risk the daddy's life.
Yeah, and that scene is obviously then.
It's
not tacked on, but it's written to write him or them out of the franchise.
And also, it's. Like, literally to say goodbye and thank you to Paul Walker.
Because there are a bunch of scenes throughout the movie. There's the first one with the bomb in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's just the first, like, where there's a bunch of scenes where it feels like they're going to kill Paul Walker, kill Brian.
Or, like, have him disappear somehow.
Yeah. And I was just sitting on, like, no, don't kill him. Like, how are they going to get him out of the franchise without, like, killing him?
Yeah.
And they did it in the best possible way, because he survives the whole movie, and then they're just like, they're gonna do their thing now. They're gonna do their family thing.
Yeah. And seeing that in theaters.
Oh.
Do you remember? We were in one of the biggest theaters in London.
Yes, you were living in London at the time.
I was living there at the time.
And I was visiting you.
Just because.
Partly because it was vacation, but also because.
We planned it to be with that premiere.
Yes,
because it premiered earlier in England than in Sweden.
And we could watch it in IMAX in England.
In one of the biggest IMAX screens.
Yes.
Ever. And the entire theater is filled with basically teenage boys. Bros.
Dude bros, yeah.
And I kid you not, 70% of the theater started crying.
Everyone was crying.
If they weren't crying out loud, they were crying inside.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and there's this. The scene is, they Dom goes off. You're not going to say goodbye, and he says it's never goodbye. Which, watching it this time, I bawled my eyes out.
Oh
throughout the entire sequence.
I was tearing up as soon as I knew that was coming. I was like, oh, it's coming.
And then he drives off, but then Brian drives up next to him. But you thought you could leave without saying goodbye, huh? And then you drive next to each other, and he has his little speech. And the best part is that the speech is about Brian, but it's also about Paul.
So much about Paul.
And then you see the scenes from the older movies, and you have the song.
Yeah.
Once again, another song that became iconic because of a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, I cannot listen to that song without crying.
And
because of that scene.
Yeah, it's one of the best like send-offs of a character and a person ever in a movie. I'm getting choked up just talking about it. Jesus Christ.
But it was even more like impactful when you're sitting in a room with I don't know how many people, hundreds of people, and everyone's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and if anything, that's a testament to how even if the movies are kind of like vapid and shallow, how well connected. The characters and how much they've connected with an audience.
Yes. The audience is so invested in the characters, not the franchise, not the story.
No, the characters.
The characters. And not just Dominic for his alpha energy, but all of them. Because even when Giselle died, people were like upset about it.
Yeah, it sucked. But this
one is obviously more because he's from the original cast. He is the original good guy.
Yeah, he was like part of the core of the franchise.
Yeah. And he's been in, like you said, he's been in every movie except for Tokyo Drift, which is a bit of a... Yeah.
And it was so well done that like...
Yes. It's very classy how they let him go.
Yeah.
Instead of like in some places where they're like, oh, well, he died, so we have to kill him.
Yeah, or just like, oh, he's not going to be in the next one, and we're going to say, no, we won't call him, he has a family. No, they have a proper send-off of the character and Paul Walker as a person.
Yes.
I mean, there's even the scene where, the cars are driving the same, and then his car drives off on another road. And
they drive
God!
Perfect!
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I mean, yeah, if a movie is emotional, I can cry a lot, but this is beyond that. It's like that scene is like 5, 6, maybe 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes long. I cry. I was just like ugly crying.
Yeah. Specifically, they're in the theater. Like no one had a dry eye.
No, yeah, everyone was, but I think it was even worse now because I think because I was alone. I was watching alone.
Yeah, you obviously held back in the theater, which everyone was trying to do, but I know we cried.
I remember as we were walking out, some people were still sitting, and walked past this guy, super big, buff guy, He was just like, I'm not gonna fucking cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, and there were so many people just like wiping with their shirt sleeves, like, no, I didn't cry, man, I didn't cry. Yeah. But in British.
Not gonna cry.
And I have to say, because they did that very well going into number 8. Because they didn't include even Mia in number 8.
No. They said, no, we're not gonna... They're not part of this.
That means their family actually did get to stay out of it.
Yeah.
However, just sidetracking slightly here, I do think she's in number 9.
She is in number 9, because...
Which kind of ruins it?
No,
but
I don't think it ruins it. It's not fair to just write out her character because Paul Walker died.
No. And I mean, it depends on how they do it. I don't know how they bring her back in number 9. Yeah. Maybe they have a really good reason, then it's fine. But if they just like randomly put her in the team, then it's odd. They need to have a reason.
Well, we'll see how they do it. Yeah.
We'll see how they do that. But number 8.
Yes. Well, are we done with number 7?
I think we need to be done with number 7. Yeah. We've been talking for a very long time. I know. We need to speed this up now.
I just want to say, we talked about the first one for 40 minutes. So it was done.
Yeah, I know.
We were over the top already. I just gotta say that the 7th one, along with the 5th one, is up there for me.
Yes, definitely.
But it is a little bittersweet, partly because Paul Walker died halfway through. So you can definitely feel that there has been compromises in the movie.
Yes.
There's a lot of scenes where you just see the back of his head, or they're cutting away from his face, or you hear his dialogue but you don't see him. And you can definitely tell that the movie struggles with that.
Yes, still, you can even tell that some of the actors are struggling with that sometimes.
Yeah. Still, it is an amazing action movie.
Oh, yes.
And it's like I said, it's up there with the 5th one.
Yeah, I think those two are like 1 and 2. I'm not sure which order, but
probably.
I think they
I loved it the first time I saw it. I loved it this time I saw it. I love it every
Yes.
time I watch it.
It still amazes me with its action scenes, to be honest.
Yes. Number 8.
Number 8.
Fate of the Furious.
Fate of the Furious. Once again, they up the ante with the action, though they do save a lot of it towards the end for once.
Towards the end, yes.
It's a very long end.
It's a very long end.
But it is the end.
And then this one, to change it up, they are on a mission, but they're on 2 missions, because in the beginning, they're stealing an EMP, once again an EMP, from a military compound in Berlin.
Yes.
But the big twist in this one is that one of their teammates, Dominic, is the bad guy in this one. Oh.
Yeah, like in number 5, 6. God damn it, number 5. No, number 6. When one of the teammates are sneaky and shady and working for the other team. This one, it's Dominic instead of just some random add-on.
You're thinking of the girl in number 6?
Yeah.
Number 6 to make out.
Number
Jesus.
6, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. We do get an explanation. Well, we sort of get an explanation, because he meets up with some lady on random in Cuba. After our introductory race scene, which we have a race again, and it's a ridiculous race where he wins by driving backwards in a semi-exploding car. Yeah.
That should not be running as fast as it does at all.
Yeah, because
it looks like it would just fall apart. Sure.
They specifically say it's the slowest car in the island, going versus up against the fastest car in the island.
But it's not the car; it's the driver.
The driver, yeah.
So obviously, Dominic can drive a shit car and win anything.
Yeah, even though he had to blow up the car to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after that, we're introduced to Charlize Theron.
Cypher.
That's the main bad guy here. Cypher, who
is the world-leading hacker, I guess.
Yeah, she's a ghost. She doesn't exist.
She's worse than Deckard Shaw, who can disappear. She literally disappears. She wipes her online history every, 5 minutes or something?
Something like that. Yeah, and we're introduced
to her.
Funny
thing is, she's not even hacking. It's her team, but yeah, whatever.
Well, she does some hacking with the submarine in the end, but yeah, it's her team mostly. But we're introduced to her, and she's like saying that Dominic Toretto, you're gonna help me with this thing. And she's like, nah. And she's like, oh, but I think you will. And then she shows him something on a phone. You're like,
photo of some sort.
Yeah. Cut to the Berlin heist, where they steal the EMP from the paramilitary group.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as they're leaving, Dom rams Hobbs and steals
betrays
them. He steals the EMP from him and runs away. So after that, they're contacted by... Well, Hobbs takes the blame because, of course, German police shows up. He takes the blame for the heist because he
was the official.
Yeah, they were there. Officially, they were there unofficially.
Yeah, but it's his mission. They were just his team.
Yeah, so he ends up in a ultra maximum facility, conveniently the same one where Deckard Shaw is. We'll get to that.
Deckard Shaw has switched cells, though.
Yes.
But obviously, you can't keep him in that bunker forever.
No. But then, they all. Well, no. Oh, sorry. Yes. Before that, we have the prison scene where Hobbs is thrown into prison. Mr. Nobody is there to say, like, hey, we can get you out of this. We need your help. And he's like, no. I'm gonna... But then, you're gonna have to become a shadow like me. And he's like, no, I'm not a criminal. I'm gonna get out of this the right way.
And then, obviously,
Mr. Nobody opens his cell. And
he's like, I can't wait for you.
So a brawl starts. And that's our first really big action scene. Because the Berlin heist is pretty fast. You have the big... the
swinging of the...
what's it called? Wrecking ball? Wrecking ball, yeah. Which is very fun, but also kind of defies the loss of gravity.
Yeah, but it's very short and very fast, and you don't really, it's just a straight line.
Yeah.
It's not a long scene.
No.
It's a very short scene.
Yeah. But then you have the prison break scene where Shaw and Hobbs escape. Well, Shaw escapes and Hobbs chases him.
Yes.
Because
even though he's incarcerated, he's a cop.
Yeah, and there's a prison riot, so everyone starts beating up the guards, and some of the inmates wants to kill Hobbs.
Because he's a cop.
And it's all cut to this song, and it's just perfectly cut to when all the cells open, the music starts.
Yes.
It's once again an amazing fight scene with several little set pieces within it.
Yeah.
You have the part with the rubber bullets. You have the part where the guy's, I've been waiting a long time for this, Hobbs. Tries to stab him with a shiv. Hobbs grabs the shiv, stabs him in the heart, and says, "Keep waiting, bitch," and then pushes him out of the way. You have the part when he clotheslines 2 other inmates, and the camera follows them around.
Yeah.
You have the jumping between levels, and then
it's just
sliding off one of the levels and bouncing off the wall to land on the ground level. It's
jam-packed with action, and it's very well coordinated.
In like 4 or 5 minutes, there's so much action in that scene.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he hits a guard in the head so hard that he doesn't just fall over. His body flips, so his head goes down and his feet goes up. That's not how gravity works, but it's funny.
And it's also The Rock getting to show off his bigness.
And then of course it ends with them both jumping out of the prison, standing up like, "Oh no, we're gonna fight," and it was all of course orchestrated by Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, and his new friend, Mr. Nothing? Little Nobody,
He's even less. Yeah. Played by Scott Eastwood.
Yes.
Clint Eastwood's son.
Yes.
Yeah. And they then present them with the fact that Dom is working with Cypher.
Yeah, and we need to find them and stop them before they nuke the world, basically.
Yeah, they're not sure. She's going after. They're not sure what she's going after.
Well, they know she's going after something big, something dangerous.
Yeah, and because she needs Dom, it's extra dangerous.
Yeah. Well, it's personal.
Yeah. And then they say, "Oh, so why don't we use God's Eye from the last movie?" Well, because she fucking hacked God's Eye.
Yeah.
So, and even when they bypass her hack, she's already planned for that and is already in the building where they are, which is a super black site that no one knows about.
Yeah.
So she's in the building, steals the God's Eye from them.
So she doesn't have to hack it, because it's making life easier for herself.
Yeah, and you get the scene, which is obviously just there for the trailer, where Cypher kisses Dom in front of Letty. And I remember the trailer was just like, "Oh, what is this?" Basically. But then, once again, kind of like with the whole Warlord and God's Eye and everything, the whole that part of the plot is unnecessarily convoluted. They need to get this thing, and then they need to get this briefcase from a Russian embassy guy in New York. And need to get that,
and then they need to go over there and whatever.
But the real plot is just that Dom, for some reason, has turned to the dark side.
Yes.
And they need to they have to fight against Dom. Of course, we find out that it's because Cypher find out about Elena, who
kidnapped her.
Yeah, and who Elena had also given birth to Dom's child somewhere between the 7th and 8th movie.
Yeah.
Which is also then, because that kid is only maybe a year old. That means that 6, 7, and 8 takes place within 2 years. Which they never explain. But that doesn't really matter.
No, but it does make sort of sense. Because you don't see a full... They do happen very rapidly after each other. You can kind of tell. And you can kind of tell that the other ones don't. Because you see more things happening in between.
Sure.
They actually show us that they live a life between.
Yeah. But she has Elena and Dom's and Elena's baby then kidnapped. So that's why he can't, she'll kill them if he doesn't help her. So that's why he's helping Cypher.
And he can't tell anyone because, that's against the rules.
Yeah, then
she'll kill them as well.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of fun to see him do bad guy stuff. Yeah.
Even though he kind of starts out as a bad guy with the heists and the
yeah, he's a criminal.
racing.
I mean,
he is a criminal.
But
now he's like a proper
being
bad
a criminal
guy.
isn't being a bad guy in this movie.
No, that's true.
There are criminals and there are cops, but then there are also bad guys, really bad
and
criminals,
heroes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the criminals can be heroes, as we know.
Yes.
So, but it's when he's in New York, and they're doing the whole zombie thing with all the cars.
Yeah.
Really over the top, but actually not like too over the top.
No, it works
controlling
in a way.
So many cars nowadays have like computers in them, so you can just overtake them. It works. It's just that they do it with 1,000 cars. Literally 1,000 cars.
Somewhat realistic, since they don't take control of every single car in New York, because not every single car will have that sort of computerized function. But they do take control of a lot of cars. Yes. And they all pile up on top of that Russian embassy dude.
Yeah, and then
whatever he is.
And then Dom putting on, one of those Army of Two masks.
Yes.
And cuts open the limousine with a buzzsaw.
He cuts open the tank, and it's like the gas tank, and they're like, "I'm gonna put fire in it if you don't give me the bag."
Yeah. And then throughout the 8th movie, there are a bunch of like smaller action scenes. There aren't a lot of big ones.
No.
You have the
until you get to the very long end.
Yeah, like you mentioned, because you have the New York scene. Of course, it's a big one with all the zombie cars, but it is CGI for the most part.
Yeah,
all
and
the zombie cars are fake.
It's just cars. It's not man-on-man fighting.
Yeah, and then
because even there, when they do go up against Dom, they're in their cars and they're trying to capture him and his car.
That is a fun scene though, where they all corner him and they all shoot once again grappling hooks into his car, and he just like his car is somehow stronger than 5 other cars.
So he just like twists and turns until the wires snap.
Yeah. And then drives off. Yeah. But then it all leads up to Cypher wanting to steal a nuclear submarine.
Yes.
So that she basically she's part of, that mutually assured destruction deterrence thing that the world has.
Mm-hmm.
That if Russia launches nukes or America will launch nukes, and then everyone dies. That kind of thing. She'll be part of that because she has a nuke.
She wants to be in control of that partly.
She wants to show that, like, she
show the world what I got.
And that she wants accountability. That everyone is accountable. Like, if I tell you to do this, you better do this, or I will launch a nuke. Yeah, that's her plan.
So I don't know why though, or what she will tell people to do.
I think she just. It's a classic bad guy. She just wants to have power, to rule the world, basically.
Yeah, I guess.
So the movie ends, and in a long scene in a hidden submarine base in Russia.
Yes. Far up north Russia, I think.
Where Dom drives in with the EMP, shuts down the entire base, and then shuts down the submarine so they can hack it. But then, of course, the team shows up, and
they have a bunch of different points where things happen.
Yeah.
You have Little Nobody and Tesh and Roman in the
submarine trying to pull the ship so she can't launch the nuke.
Yes, and then you have
Letty and
Ramsey
trying to hack overtake the hacking of the submarine while Letty's
from
fighting
the
goons.
control tower.
Yeah. You have Dom just sitting, just waiting for his opportunity because he's still,
a bad guy.
He's still a bad guy. He's waiting for his leverage to happen on the plane, which we'll get to. And you have
I don't even know where Hobbs is for most of that.
Hobbs, he's like driving around, crashing other cars, beating up other goons. He's like the muscle. He's tanking.
And then he turns up at Letty and Ramsey, like, ready to go.
Yeah. And at the same time, throughout this, Dom has been planning on how to get Elena and the baby off of the plane. Unfortunately, Elena gets killed because he defied some order, so they shoot Elena.
Yeah, but the baby's left.
The baby's fine.
The baby needs
They're
to be
not
saved.
going to kill a baby because this is PG-13.
Well, yeah.
And you don't kill babies in movies anyway.
No,
you don't.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. Yeah. But fortunately, he has concocted a plan together with Deckard and Owen Shaw and Mama Shaw.
Yeah.
Played by what's her name? Not Judi Dench. What's her name?
I'm trying to find her in the list. Oh my god, what's her name?
What's her name?
She's super famous. Helen Mirren.
Thank you, Helen Mirren. Yes, Helen Mirren.
I had to find her.
Yeah. So with a hidden locator in his silver cross necklace, which is on the plane, hanging in front of the cage where Lena and the baby was. Deckard and Owen Shaw flies with jetpacks onto this plane that is invisible to every radar in the world, goes onto the plane, kills every guard on there, and then tries to kill Cypher, but she escapes. She jumps out with a parachute.
Yeah.
And then there's a shootout with Jason Statham, Deckard Shaw, holding the baby in like a baby carriage thing.
Yeah.
And the baby listening to like chipmunk music. Yeah. While he's shooting people.
The scene is also so well coordinated and orchestrated. It's so fucking funny and action and cool at the same time.
And here we, since Owen is helping them, he's mostly helping because Deckard told him to.
Yes.
But they're kind of introducing him as a possible ally for future movies.
Yes.
Because he's like, "Ooh, what a great plane! I'm looking forward to having it." And he's like, "Calm down, Scarface."
Yeah.
Because he has scars from the 6th movie. But he might turn up as a good guy in another. He might turn up as a bad guy though. We don't know.
We don't know.
Because we know that Cypher is the bad guy in the 9th movie. So,
yes, but she could very much be like recruiting him. We don't know that.
Yeah. So the movie ends with them trying to outrun the nuclear submarine, which Cypher starts up, before it reaches
a frozen
lake,
ocean, lake, part, whatever.
It's going under the ice, and they're going for the sea lock because they're in like a lagoon. There's only one place to leave, so they need to reach the sea lock and close the gates before the submarine gets there. And at the same time,
the submarine is literally like underneath them.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're being chased by like tens of cars and trucks and snowmobiles with missiles and shit. And there's this long chase. Once again, they're just driving straight forward, but it's such a
lot happens.
Yeah, it's such a cool scenery to have them drive on a frozen lake, which they did for real. They had like dozens of cars driving on a real frozen lake. Lamborghinis, tanks, snowmobiles.
I especially love the red one that just cannot do anything.
Yeah, the Lamborghini, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they probably didn't... I don't know, did they do the whole riding on the car door for real?
Yes, running the car door for real. There's even Tyrese in a couple of scenes. A couple of little sequences, it's him. The scene where Hobbs jumps out of his car, slides with his feet on the ground, and then pushes
pushes the missile thingy.
A torpedo that is on the ice, pushes it into the missile car. That they did for real. Not wasn't a real missile, but they pushed.
No, but he was outside of the car and he pushed the thing.
Yeah. And when the Lamborghini is almost falling into the water because of a crack from an explosion, that's for real. They're dragging him along like the crack. That's for real. And then when the submarine decides to then like come up out of the water up onto the ice to like try to
push them away, basically.
To drown them. They did that for real. The car, where the cars fly up like 60 feet in the air. That's real. The only thing that isn't real is a submarine, because
they didn't.
There's not in the budget to have a real submarine, but they did blow up the ice, and cars flew like 50, 60 feet into the air on a frozen lake.
Oh my god! I need to find like the
there are some
trivia.
stuff.
How many cars were broken in this one?
There are some behind the scenes stuff on YouTube, but I have the Blu-ray, and there's so much stuff about that final chase over the ice. It's insane.
Yeah. I'm trying to find if there's like a quick one that how many cars were destroyed, but I can't find it.
No, they didn't have one for this one.
Nah. Because there's got to be a lot of cars broken in this one as well. Especially, even though like most of the New York cars are all CGI, I'm guessing they like had one or two cars that were real.
Well,
in
yeah,
that
sure,
scene.
yeah. There's a bunch of cars that you see crash in that movie, in that scene.
Yeah.
So that's real. But yeah, then the movie literally ends with the submarine is on the surface. We know now that the baby is safe. So
Yes.
Dom decides to join the good guys in the family. So Cypher gets mad, fires a heat-seeking rocket to kill him and the team. But he
distracts it with
by using his
shooting
jet
fire
engine,
out of his out of his car.
Then drives up the side of a little like mountain thing, turns around and heads straight for the submarine that the missile came from. Jumps over the submarine so that the
dodging
rocket,
the top part just tiny bit,
and then
he even hits it tiny bit.
Yeah, and then the rocket hits the submarine. And they blow up a nuclear submarine.
Oh
He's about to be hit by the ball of fire.
The
nukes are fine.
Yeah,
but they blow up the
nukes
submarine.
have been disabled.
Yeah.
But it is
He's about to be set ablaze by the fireball, but then all the cars, the family shows up and shields him from the fire.
Yes.
And the movie ends.
Because they're like, oh, he's back.
Yeah, and the scene ends with Roman taking a selfie with the smoldering nuclear submarine.
Which is very on point for the character.
Yes.
Love
and then it ends with another dinner scene where Deckard shows...
In New York this time,
in
though.
New York,
for some reason.
Deckard shows up...
Well, yeah, the house has been blown up, so they don't have a home.
Deckard shows up with the baby. Nobody's there. Little nobody is there. And they're all... And even Hobbs' daughter is there. And they're all a family. Yes. And they're eating dinner again. And now they have a second baby. They have little Jack. And now they have Brian. Which is nice.
I thought it was kind of weird that they named him Brian instead of Paul.
I mean...
Because Brian is technically still alive in this universe.
Yeah, but he's not part of their crew
and I
anymore.
Guess he wants to name it after his, like, favorite guy in the world.
Yeah, and it would be weird if they, like, break that fourth wall and call the baby Paul.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it's still an homage to Paul Walker, since they name it after his character.
Yes.
And then the movie ends.
This has been a very long episode.
Yes. This was definitely more of just recounting the movies than talking about
just telling
all the stuff of them.
And our favorite parts.
Good. Yeah. Because there's a lot more going on in these movies than in the first couple of movies.
Yes, that's why. There's more of an intricate storyline and plot in these movies. It's not just very straightforward. You need to go from point A to point B and get that thing.
Yeah.
There's backstabbing and dying and stuff.
Yeah. But what we should point out though throughout these movies is just like we talked about, that the character writing, even though the movies become more and more intricate, there's more and more stunts, more and more over the top shit.
Yes.
What's most important and what brings people back to the cinema are the characters.
Yeah.
And we have proof of that because they did after Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious 8, they did do the Fast and Furious present Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Yes.
Which is a fun concept because they bicker a lot in the 8th movie because, oh, I'm a good guy, you're a bad guy, I hate you, but we're going to be on a team now. That's perfect for, a buddy cop kind of movie like Hobbs and Shaw is.
Yes.
Problem is, that movie has none of the other family members. And we saw that movie. It
doesn't have any of the originals.
Yeah, we saw that movie. It's a fun movie.
Sure.
But it doesn't hold a candle to any of the Fast and Furious movies.
I think that would have been a better movie if they did not try to account it to the Fast and Furious universe. Yeah. They should have done it separately. Okay, maybe it's difficult to rectify having those two actors.
Yeah.
Because of them having history in the Fast and Furious movies, but still, the story in and of itself it's a good movie. It's a fine movie.
It's a fine movie.
Yeah,
but
trying
it's not a
to
Fast
be
and Furious
part
movie.
of Fast and Furious doesn't work.
And that's also and that's not just us. That's where's
that was shown in like the scores and how much they actually made in theaters and post.
Because Fast and Furious 7 was the first one that made over $1 billion. It made $1.5 billion worldwide. But even the movies before that made like starting from Fast 5, which was the big change, made 600 million. The next one made 700 million, and then both number 7 and 8 made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw made less money than Fast and Furious 6. It kind of jumped down, and especially if you look at U.S. box office, it only made $200, where the other ones made around $300, $300 million.
Yeah, obviously million. But yeah, because people were excited for it when they saw it, like, oh my god, another Fast and Furious, and then when they looked into it, like, but it's just Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Sure, it's a very high-tech and very cool movie in that sense, but it's not your favorite characters. No. I mean, people like Hobbs and people like Shaw, but it's not the same without the others.
It's part of the same thing why people didn't like Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift. It doesn't have the characters. It doesn't have the magnetism of Dominic and Paul, Brian, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker.
Yeah.
And kind of what was wrong in the second one as well. It doesn't have Dominic. It doesn't have Vin Diesel.
You need that dynamic. Well, you need Vin Diesel mostly, but you need the whole dynamic
you
that
need
he
the family
brings
dynamic
into
with everyone.
The group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you look at cinema scores, which is like an aggregate of what people think of the movie, from Fast 5 and forward, they all had A scores. It's an A to F.
Yeah.
So 5, 6, and 7 are A. And then Hobbs and Shaw is an A-. It's not the same.
No.
So, yeah. There is something special about these characters, this family.
Definitely.
And that's why I'm still looking forward to F9.
Yes, and we can explore that even more when we get to
when
we finally get to see F9 and we can do the final episode on this.
Yeah. We should round off this episode. We talked way too long about the first movie. That's the problem. Almost half the episode is that movie. So.
Yes.
Or the fifth one.
Sorry,
this was a long one. I mean, we've done some long ones before, but this is extra long. But yeah,
but there's a reason, and you can tell in what we say and how we talk about it.
Yeah, because this is a franchise that, like, even like I'm a fan of the Resident Evil movies, but that's mostly like they're so bad they're good.
Yes.
And even that one has a couple of movies that are so bad that I can't even defend them. This franchise is just good.
It's heartwarming and you feel a connection to the characters and the actors. It's in some part as well, but mostly the characters.
Yeah.
It's just you feel like part of the family.
And also the fact that it feels so genuine because there's so there's not that many like spin-offs and side stories. I'm looking at you, Marvel, once again. There is only these movies. They made one, Hobbs and Shaw, and it didn't work, so they're not going to do that again.
No.
And the fact that the focus is on making like genuinely exciting stunts. Their main thing. I really enjoy that. This is like proper blockbusters.
Yeah.
Which really
again
helps.
Very excited to see what they do with number 9.
Yes, we're very excited to see number 9.
And we have less than a week until we get to see it.
Yeah, we're gonna
right
see it
now when we're recording this.
We're gonna see it on Wednesday. So then the Thursday, of course, we're gonna do a spoiler cast about it. But if you want more Fast and Furious adjacent stuff, we are talking about Hurricane Heist this Monday on the Patreon episode. So check that out if you want to. Be sure to subscribe then, so you can listen to that episode.
Yes.
But other than that, I think we're gonna round it off now. We've been talking for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So.
Thank you so much for listening. If anyone listened for this long, we'll see you next Thursday or next Monday if you subscribe to the Patreon. And until then, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Jesus Christ.